Players booting up, excited to see what Todd and crew brought from PC. Dual sense buzzing in hand, this ship's about to land. Game loads in, what a surprise. Can't believe I believe those lies. The game runs great, I'm losing myself. Todd blessed it like a Holy Ghost, but then it crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It was said that Luke was too mean, that Todd's tales would soon be seen to be true and honest and clean and pure. But it turns out the port's just a pile of manure. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. Oh Todd, what the actual hell is wrong? Oh Emil, someone do something. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter all hopes and dreams without delay. Breaking hearts, but he'll still run away with your money, your hopes, your dreams, and then Starfield will just go and crash again. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter. It crashed, Starfield crash. PS5 or Pro, it don't matter. Todd's work will surely shatter.
I thought I heard the old man say, leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. Oh, the wind was foul and the sea ran high. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. She shipped it green and none went by, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. I hate to sail on this rotten tub. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. No grog allowed and rotten grub, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her. We swear by our oath for want of more. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. But now we're through, so we'll go on shore, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Oh, leave her, Johnny, leave her. For the voyage is long and the winds don't blow, and it's time for us to leave her.
There it is. But he's not gonna, never does. We've been pretty clear. We have been pretty clear with him, and he has refused to do it. I think he is a glutton for punishment. You know, one video I saw that was actually like kind of crazy. Look at this. Look at this. POV, it's your wedding song, but it's Leave Her Johnny from Black Flag. Doors open. It's beautiful. Now, if his name were Johnny, the groom, that would be even better. It's pretty fire. You see, this is one of those songs that works. It could work as this because the song is about telling Johnny to leave the boat. It's about leaving the ship, leaving sailing behind and like moving on from his days on the sea. Especially because back in the day, you know, you'd be out sailing for like years on end before you'd get back to see your family. So it was like, leave her behind. Leave her behind. Go back to your people and everything. But it is really funny to think of having your wedding song be Leave Her Johnny. You know, like, most people probably would not appreciate the finer nuances of, no, it's symbolic that you're leaving behind your old life to start a new one. They would just hear it, leave her. Which, you know, that would be, if you have to explain the song, it probably doesn't work too well. I also saw this and I related to this. That's copyrighted. It's also, I related to this on a spiritual level. Me as a kid walking through Skyrim because I refused to drop dragon bones. Dude, when I saw this, I was like taken aback. I never did drop the dragon bones because they were valuable. I don't remember how much they were worth, but they were valuable. And I was always, you know, a bit of a commerce junkie. So I was carrying all the dragon bones so I could sell them off and spend the money on nothing. But I related to this so deeply. Like, just being over encumbered out the ass. But you know, it's a vibe. It's a vibe, honestly. It's part of the Skyrim experience, is being over encumbered. I think that's just part of it. One of my favorite little tidbits that Todd said is, they asked him, do you get fan mail? Do you ever get fan mail? I wonder if I can find the clip. Yeah, here, this might be, did somebody clip it? Yes.
Well, there you go. Come up to us. It's fine. It's fine.
Some people sent letters.
Yeah,
Some
we
of
do
those
get
are very,
letters.
Some of
from
those are
time
very
to time.
creative. I got a box of bobby pins the other week that said weigh these. So whoever sent that was the most creative letter I got.
That's pretty funny. Sending Todd a box of bobby pins. Just weigh these. Come on. Oh, Toddothy. Oh, Todd. Yes, it is true. Yes, Jennifer English did step down from her role. It's crazy. We were just talking about Tides of Annihilation. Like at the end of last stream, I think it was. Like on Friday, we talked about this. Then like literally 30 minutes after we got off stream, the news broke that she's or like the cast, I don't know exactly what's happening, but they're restructuring some of it. So they're recasting a bunch, reorganizing stuff. I thought they were pretty far along in the recording process, but apparently they're gonna recast and redo, I guess, all of the recordings. I don't know how that works, but yeah, Jennifer English is stepping away and they're gonna have to recast the role, which is wild. I saw a bunch of theories on social media as to why Jennifer might be stepping away. I don't know what's just Twitter drama and what's real. It sounds like there might be like personal drama or like a relationship that got broken up and now things are awkward or something. I don't know. Like, ultimately, it's your choice if you want to participate in any sort of project. If you want to step away, that's your right to step away. I mean, it is what it is. And honestly, a begrudged performance is usually not a good one. Like a performance that somebody doesn't want to actually do is usually not a great performance. So if Jennifer's like, I'm not feeling it, I don't want to do it, then so be it. But I think it's too bad. Jennifer's awesome and very, very good. And Tides of Annihilation still looks awesome. I don't remember who they said was taking over the role. They already recast it, I believe, but I don't remember who it's being taken over by. Health related. I think it was health and like mental health related. I think. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Either way, we wish Jennifer the best. Wish him the best. As always. With this, also I saw this. This was just funny. I like good little skits like this. This one comes out of nowhere and hits pretty hard. Look at this.
Here at Sony have shot ourselves in the foot more than a few times. Greenlighting 12 live service games. Yeah. Gutting Bungie and shuttering Destiny 2. $200 console price hike. Investing millions in PSVR 2.
Yeah, do you remember the PSVR 2? Dude, for a while they were acting like that was going to be the next big thing. They spent millions and millions on developing a couple of games for that. Like, do you remember the Horizon game? They did Horizon Call of the... I think it was Call of the Mountain is what it was called. And it reviewed, like, pretty mediocre. It was, like, you know, mostly in the low 70s, a few in the high 60s. Like, C- energy. And they just... Now they don't even talk about it at all. Do they honestly, do they still sell it? I don't think they've marketed it in ages. I mean, it's been years.
Should have been obvious. Concord! But all of those pale in comparison to today's doozy of an announcement. Starting in January of 2028,
A little cock right before he gets into it is a good touch.
we will no longer be producing physical discs for our games. All future games will only be available through the PlayStation storefront or at retailers in digital formats. Oh! God! Oh, that was right through the big toe. Oh!
Wait, honest question. There's more to this. We're going to watch the rest of it. Honest question. Where does the term shooting yourself in the foot even come from? Where does the term... Was it just a guy that shot himself in the foot? Was it just like some dude named John that shot himself in the foot? The idiom shooting yourself in the foot is widely believed to have originated from military contexts, particularly in the 19th and 20th centuries. It most likely refers to accidental injuries occurring when a soldier or gunslinger mishandled their firearm, such as firing before the weapon was clear of the holster, or through general incompetence with equipment, because such an injury was clearly self-inflicted and usually the result of a careless mistake, it became a metaphor for a blunder. Surely there's like... It's got to go back to, you know, some dude in the 1800s, you know, Billy the Kid shoots himself in the foot and all of the other guys are making fun of him like, you dumbass, you shot yourself in the foot. Is there, dude, there's got to be something like that. We'll dig into it more. I'll do some research.
Now, many of you may be asking yourselves, why in the 7 swampy circles of Hades does Sony keep shooting themselves in the foot? And the answer is simply, because we can. For all intents and purposes, we won the console wars. Nintendo was off doing their own little casual thing, and despite how many times we've royally Frenched up over the past generation, we still outsold the Xbox 5-1. What this tells us is, it doesn't really matter what we do, you'll still buy our shit. So, why not go for broke? Well, technically, you'll be the ones going broke, but you get it. See, an all-digital future means that we'll finally have total control over your games. Since everything will now funnel through our storefront, we can set prices however we see fit. And with games becoming digital licenses instead of physical discs, we can take away players' access whenever we want. It truly is a late-stage capitalist's wet dream come to life.
Which I do want to say, people act like that's not likely. You know, it's like, oh, well, no, when would they ever take away your library? Well, what would be the incentive to do that? Well, it's already happened in numerous instances where, like, the Crew, for example, they sign a licensing deal for that game. They could sign a deal to get the rights for, like, the cars in the game perpetually, forever, but that's more expensive than if you only sign a deal for like 5 years. So if you want to save money, you sign a deal so the cars are licensed for 5 years, and then you delist the game after 5 years. You no longer have to pay the licensing fee. You save money as the publisher, and then because you revoked access to the game, it's no longer available. Now everybody, you got to buy the new one. You have to spend another $70, $80 if you want to play that game again. Basically, you have to spend more money. Like, this literally happens already But that's even with like physical media existing. So just imagine how bad it's going to get when there is no extra backup, when there is no extra thing. Like this Stop Killing Games movement was already important with just the live service push and everything, always online games and requiring server check-ins just to function. That was already a problem. It's even more important now that like physical media is being shelved, basically. Is that a pun? Unintended? Shelving physical media. You get what I'm saying. Moving on.
You'll be paying more than you ever have just to not even own any of the games, and there is nothing you can do about it. What are you gonna do? Not play GTA 6? You really gonna skip out on Wolverine? Come on. We've collected enough of your personal data to know that you don't have the self-control to do that. And for those of you delusional enough to think that you're gonna switch sides and buy a PC, really? In this economy? If you think forking over $1,000 for the next PlayStation is gonna be rough, wait till you try and build a PC. The f***ing price of RAM alone is gonna be more than that.
It's good, right? It's really good. What's crazy is that these like conversations are literally happening. Probably word for word, honestly, behind closed doors. Well, we could really try to be more affordable with the PlayStation 6 and sell it at a major loss. But what's the alternative? They're going to go buy Project Helix, which is probably going to be even more expensive. Probably not. Oh, they'll go buy a PC for $2,000. We just have to not be as expensive as that. We were mainly worried about the Steam machine. Have you seen how much that costs? We're fine. Like that's what's going on right now. Like it literally is what's happening. You know, like what are we doing? What are we doing? It's crazy.
Face it, you're stuck with us. You can write all the angry little articles and post all your hateful little tweets, but at the end of the day, you're just gonna tucker yourselves out. Why not skip all that outrage theater and just hop on board? Come on in, the water's fine. Well, the water's fine in my personal corporate jacuzzi. Your water is a lot more of a muggy, piss-filled YMCA pool type deal, but wait, where was I going with this? Doesn't matter. You'll still buy our well, you'll rent our deuces.
Deuces. It's sad because it's true. And that's what makes it even funnier is that it's real. Yeah. This is why, again, competition is good. Competition's important. Once somebody feels like they have no competition, they have no barrier anymore. They will just push and push and push and push to see what they can get away with. It's why you need a competition. It's almost like, let's use an analogy. The World Cup just happened. You need two teams that are competitive to keep each other going, to keep play interesting. If you have a professional team in the World Cup playing against literal toddlers, it's not going to be entertaining for anybody. It's going to be sad. And then while you do have healthy competition, you also need like referees. You need people to enforce consistent rules and prevent abusive tactics and things like that. That's where like regulations come in. That's where like legal oversight comes in. Like, hey, maybe we don't allow you to just randomly take away products that people have already bought. That would be like the referee keeping the rules consistent for everybody and protecting also the viewers, but also each individual team to make sure competition can be fair. And that's what a healthy industry would look like. And we've had that in years past. But what we have right now is much more of a professional team, you know, Spain versus coughing baby. Like that's kind of what we have. And then the referees are on lunch. No wonder the game sucks. You know, that's kind of where we're at. So, yeah, it's sad because it's true. But there you go. Why do they do this? Why are they like this? Because they can. That's why. But there does seem to be a glimmer of hope. There does seem to be a glimmer of hope because PlayStation hardware sales have cratered in the last like 3 months. And if that holds true, I mean, GTA 6 kind of throws all of this for a loop because it's like a once in a decade type thing. But after that, like early next year for 2027, that's going to be the real bellwether, because if it is the case that people are actually just like going to totally mentally check out and be like, no, I'm not buying the PlayStation for, $6,000, $8,000 or $600 to $800 or $1,000. If people are just like, I'm not doing that, full stop, I'm not interested anymore, then that I think could actually spook PlayStation a bit, because right now their assumption is when they release $1,000 console, I personally think it's going to be more. I think it's going to be like $11.99. I think their expectation is people are going to suck it up and buy it anyways. I think that that's really what they're planning on, is just, no, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. And if you don't like it, then you can rent it or you can lease it or something. But I think that they are fully convinced that people will just suck it up. I think I got it. There's a little fly. Anyway, there you go. It's sad because it's true. Real quick, let me read these. Buttery Cheeks, thank you for the 5. Luke, what would you do if you had Asha's powers? I would shut down Fallout 76, fire ML, make Todd issue a public apology for creating Starfield. You get up there, wear nothing but burlap, and apologize. If you are asking what would I do specifically with BGS and everything if I had Asha's powers, for one, I would go through and I would have a full corporate review of all of our teams, not just BGS, but all of them, to evaluate efficiencies. It doesn't take a genius to figure out there is some level of delay and sluggishness within these companies, especially within Xbox, that has slowed development to a crawl, and that needs to be addressed. Some teams don't have that issue. Obsidian does not have that issue. They seem to be firing on all cylinders, right? BGS is not. So I would do like a comprehensive review, basically do what CDPR did after Cyberpunk, do that, but for all of their teams. So we would do that, cut out a lot of middle manager bloat, and try to increase efficiencies. That would probably mean, major restructurings and stuff, but I think that that would lead to a healthier studio, like, ecosystem in general, after the fact. Beyond that, I would also start to, part of it is I don't know practically how much money is actually being made with Fallout 76 and ESO. It might be that they're making a crap ton of money. They might not be making as much as we think when you factor in development costs and everything. I think there is a place for those games in the ecosystem and in the zeitgeist, but I think that the problem I have with like Fallout 76 is that it's being treated as a replacement for the single player stuff. Every time that you bring up, hey, we want another like Fallout 5, we want New Vegas 2 or whatever, it's, well, you have Fallout 76. It's not what we're asking. That's not what we want. Like if we wanted that, we would already be playing it, but we don't. So I would say that there's a place for it. There's people that play it and like it, but it is a separate group than the core fan base. So I would be exploring remasters, remakes. I would be exploring, expediting sequels. And that's part of the idea of enhancing the team to increase efficiency. Look at what CDPR's pipeline is currently. I mean, CDPR's pipeline is ridiculous. CDPR release. Maybe I can find it. I don't remember the exact years. CDPR full release schedule for what they're expecting. Because of course they have a number of things. This is, yeah, Project Orion. I don't know. I did a video on this. I don't have my notes in front of me though. But basically, like Witcher 4 is probably sometime next year to the year following. So 27 to 28 realistically is where investors are kind of expecting it. The Witcher remake probably comes out the year following is what's expected. That's being done by Fool's Theory. Witcher 5 is expected to come. I don't remember if they said it's coming before or after Cyberpunk's sequel, but it's coming in the same rough window. And basically before 2032, most of these projects are supposed to be out. So they're supposed to get all of this out, potentially a whole new Witcher trilogy before Bethesda puts out Fallout 5. And this is because they've got their pipeline firing on all cylinders. They fully restructured all of their teams. They opened satellite studios that are specializing in each of their individual franchises. So the team doing Cyberpunk is not also doing The Witcher. The team doing Cyberpunk is based in or currently working on Cyberpunk, I believe is based in North America, based in Boston. And the team back in Poland, they are helping, they'll jump onto that project. They have a main studio in Poland that is currently doing The Witcher 4. And it's my understanding, it might change or might be incorrect, but it's my understanding that team, after Witcher 4 launches, moves on and starts helping with the next project, whether it be Cyberpunk or Witcher 5. and then they kind of shift from project to project, but they always have these core teams that are working on the next big thing, to get pre-production and early stuff out of the way, ready to go, to kind of set the stage so that the team can come in and put on the show. And so I think this is doable. Like, this is possible. You just have to get your team firing on all cylinders and get the sort of layout established before you start working on it. And that seems to be what a lot of companies are struggling with right now. But realistically, within 6 years, we could have all of these. That's crazy. That's crazy. What's even crazier is there's a world in which Elder Scrolls 6 gets delayed significantly and ends up we get one game. One Elder Scrolls at the end of the trilogy. Can you imagine this whole time? Oh, and the Witcher 3 DLC. You're right. How could I forget that? Yeah, they also have a Witcher 3 DLC coming in like right here. Yeah, imagine that. That's really ridiculous. But just imagine a world in which, we've been talking about how the Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be fighting an uphill battle because they're going to be going head to head and be compared against the Witcher 4. That's going to be a tough comparison to beat and to win. And they probably don't care about the comparison. They're just like, it is whatever. Who cares? But that's perhaps an assumption. Their own developers, after this last round of layoffs, were suggesting that they might have to delay it, which means that you might not be comparing Elder Scrolls 6 to The Witcher 4. You might be comparing it to The Witcher 5 or 6. Can you imagine? Can you even imagine? I can't. I can't. I think it'd be really funny, but I can only fathom. It would be insane. Absolutely insane, but it's possible. Will Asha fire Todd? No. Todd's an asset. And the thing is, and I've said this before, and some people get peeved when I point it out, but the data is very clear. The more Todd works on a project, the better it's received, the better the Metacritic score is, the better the fan response is. When Todd works on something directly, it tends to be way better. The less involved he gets, the worse it gets. So we've seen examples of this, whether it be, some of the tangential projects they've worked on or what have you. But when you listen to interviews with the devs, it seems like as the studio has grown significantly, Todd's ability to be directly involved has disappeared. He still is involved with like big picture stuff. He has a few pet projects that he focuses really heavily on, like maybe it might be the UI, maybe it's like open world layout and stuff, but he's not in the trenches like he was back in, say, 2014 when they were building out Fallout 4. So Asha doesn't want to get rid of him, and I don't think they should get rid of him. My frustration is that Todd has basically become an executive producer in his studio and doesn't seem to be that involved in the day-to-day. That's not coming from just speculation. That's coming from interviews with his own developers, interviews with people that worked with him years ago, and then as the years ticked by, saw him less and less and less and less and less and less until the point where they saw him maybe once a week. And that's like, I think that's a problem, But anyway, the memes that have come out of all of this is pretty freaking hilarious. I don't know if you guys saw this one. What Bethesda was doing before Asha became CEO of Xbox.
Then it dawns on you that it's completely silent. No one is doing anything. There was no typing, no mouse clicking, nothing. We saw one guy looking at the Google homepage, but he wasn't searching for anything. He was just staring blankly at the screen.
It's crazy. They got documentary footage of that. 18,000 likes, dude. They're doing something worse than nothing. They're updating ESO in Fallout 76. Halo Studios is the same, if not worse. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Or this one. Damn, did they have to do them like that? Actual look at the whip that's being used on Todd right now. There is a feeling that the era of cushy, take your time, do whatever has come to an end. Like, I do think Phil's general approach was to just let them do whatever they wanted. It really was like free play, you know. As a father of two little boys, I've seen parents like that where they just let their kids go out and have free play. They don't supervise. They let their kids go outside. Dude, we were at a park one time and like I'm pushing Ori on the swing. And I turn around and I look in the field behind me. There was like a family. They had like two, they were probably like 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that. And initially they were playing really nicely on the playground and it was like very cute. But after a while they disappeared and I'm pushing Ori on the swing and I turn back behind me because I hear some like yelling. These kids are having a rock fight. They are chucking rocks that they have taken out of like the rock bed that surrounds the trees, like the circle around the trees. And they are chucking rocks at each other like it's a snowball fight. And like one of them hit the other kid in the shin and the kid's freaking out. I'm like, and the mom's like, you guys. I was like, stop them. That's crazy. Like, that's not good. That's how David killed Goliath. Like, and Goliath was a big dude. He's not a 6-year-old boy. Like, what are we doing? But that seems to be, that seems to have been Phil's parenting approach and managerial approach with a lot of these companies, BGS included, was to let them just throw rocks at each other and do nothing all day and not be productive at all. And then when something would happen that the fan base was pissed about, he'd be like, oh, these silly guys, whatever. Anyway, like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Anyway, yeah, that's, I had to sneak that in. That's, you see some stuff at parks nowadays, dude. There's different types of parenting. There's like, you know, the helicopter parent, the tiger parent. There's like all these different archetypes of parenthood. And then there is the, what do they call it? There's like gentle parenting, and then there's positive parenting is a new thing. There's like a bunch of different ones. I can't keep up. But one of them also is, I don't know what the official name for it would be, but it's effectively that they just don't tell their kids anything when it comes to like not doing something or stopping something. Everything is a question. It's like Socrates, if he was a parent, mixed with gentle parenting. So they'll chuck rocks at each other and it's like, dude, why were we doing that? Do you guys think we should throw rocks at each other? Yeah, because it was fun. Okay. Like, that's just, it's crazy. It's crazy. Maybe I'm a boomer. Maybe I'm old school, but I was like, hey, I get it. I you know, be gentle. Don't be like, you know, maybe your overly aggressive parents were to you. I understand that. But maybe we tell kids to not throw rocks at each other. Maybe that's a point where we like draw the line. But maybe I'm just a square. maybe I'm the problem. I'm the square. I'm the unfun one. Yeah, I should be more loosey-goosey. Luke, you got to loosen up. They're just rocks. Rocks never killed anybody. If I was a parent, I would just tell my kid, you are not ready. You take the rock slowly. It is not time. It is not time. You can discipline without abusing your child. Well, yeah. And I think that should be the lesson, is that correction is not that's not abusive to grab your kid so he doesn't run into the street. It's not abusive to tell your kid not to throw rocks at other kids. It's not abusive to say, hey, don't drink bleach or don't eat the Tide Pod. Like, that's just being responsible as a parent, I would think. But I don't know. Free range parenting. That's how they view it, dude. That's how they view it. Yeah, no, it's absolutely crazy how not involved or active, I guess, some parents are. It's kind of horrifying. Buddy Team AK, thank you for the sub over on Twitch. Also ZXP Fox, thank you for that sub as well. Thank you, my friends. Thank you. Appreciate you. Naive parenting, lazy parenting. I think it's a little bit of everything. A lot of it is well intentioned. It's like the parents don't want, maybe they were raised with like, you know, a parent who had the, you know, the switch, the stick that they would spank them with. Maybe they were raised in an abusive household themselves. And so they want to, like, they really don't want to become that. They don't want it like that for their kids. So I can understand why they might swing to the opposite side, where they are not like physical or aggressive or really involved at all. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from, is it's somebody trying really hard not to give their kids what they had, right? They want to give them the opposite. But it can also sometimes go too far, I think, the other way, to the point where like you're letting your kids have a rock fight in a public park, and it's like, no, you telling them to stop is not, or putting them in a timeout is not abusive. That's just keeping them from killing each other. I think that that's just responsible, you know? You can also let your kids make mistakes and hurt themselves. Well, exactly. Like if they want to climb a tree, that's okay. Yeah, they might scrape on the bark or something, their hand. It happens. Kids scrape their hands on trees. Kids scrape their knees. Like stuff like that happens. You don't have to be a helicopter parent, but you also can step in and tell them not to, you know, jump into the raging river, you know, for a quick swim. Let's see. Kyle, thank you for that 5. Asha tells BGS they need to pick up the pace. BGS, holy Cheez-Its, what are we going to do? I only took this job because we never have to do anything. Dude, it's one of the top comments on our video. On it. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. It was pretty funny. I think it was this one. So the gaming industry just kind of sucks. Quiet, Luke. Yes, what do you do at Xbox? I'm managing the managers of management. Whoa. We have to actually make games now? Asha Sharma to Bethesda. What would you say you do here? Like, that's literally what's happening, dude. It's crazy. And if you don't know, that's a reference to the movie Office Space.
You do in Initech is you take the specifications from...
Take them directly to the software people, huh?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Because engineers are not good at dealing with customers.
So you physically take the specs from the customer?
We're gonna get covered. It's really good. No, my secretary does that.
No. Yeah, I mean, sometimes.
It's a really good movie. You should watch it if you haven't. But yeah, this basically what's happening is that it's just like, help me understand. So you released a game in 2023. It's been 3 years. You announced the game you're currently working on 8 years ago. And you're telling me you still need several more years. Help me understand. help me understand how that works. Because it seems like you should have a lot more done by now. It seems to me like you should be further along. I'm just saying. I think you should have more done by this point. Help me understand. I would love to be a fly in the wall in those rooms. Aaron or Aaron, thank you for the membership, my friend. Appreciate you. S or Spark. I almost went S Park instead of Spark. Thank you, Spark, for the 5. Have you heard any rumblings on Undead Labs and Save Decay 3?
6722 donated 23 euros and 99 cents through Super Chat.
Thank you, my friend.
What do you think about the Metro games? And if you like them, what do you think about the direction Metro 2039 is taking? I
do like them. I mean, they're it's a very different I appreciate that it's a different kind of game than we get a lot nowadays. Like the really cinematic high production value FPS has not been shown a lot of love. I mean, we used to get like new franchises and new entries in those types of games all the time, but it seems like maybe it's Call of Duty or something just kind of cannibalized, or the live service honestly is probably what cannibalized a lot of it. But I'm very interested to see what they do with it. I think 2039 looks freaking awesome. I think it looks super dark and gritty. The environmental storytelling that they're trying to put front and center is also really, really cool. So I can't wait. I think it looks freaking sweet. And I want to find out more. They're too scary or something, Metro, that is. I mean, that's the thing. They're not for the faint of heart, but that's, I think, also why I like them, because a lot of shooters have kind of become codified. They've become like cartoony, and they're trying to appeal to like COD fans. And so it just doesn't have the same grit that a lot of these games used to have. And I like that Metro is proudly not that. They're like, no, we're not doing that. We're going firmly this direction, and it will enjoy it or you'll hate it, you know? And I respect the hell out of that. As for, thank you again. That's very, very generous. 23. That's crazy. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. As for rumblings on State of Decay 3, I have not heard anything directly. I know they're trying to sort out everything right now, and until they sort it out, it's business as usual. They are doing another alpha run, so that's also great. I've heard nothing but positive stuff from it. So I've heard all the feedback I've heard has been positive. That is not true of a lot of live service games and like multiplayer games that go into alpha. Like I told you guys about the Horizon Hunters Gathering playtest, where apparently, like, I should be careful what I say. It didn't go well. Okay? Like, there were people that were like hardcore, diehard fans of Horizon who literally rage quit like 45 minutes into the 4-hour play session because of how god awful, like, the story that was presented was. Because yes, there is a story, and I've been informed of it. Let's just say, as far as I can tell, the game would have fit in great circa early 2024. We'll just put it like that, okay? it's not going great, okay? Joel Raptor starts crying. I feel bad for Joel, man. It's gotta suck so bad to be like, these are my... Well, I guess we have Assassin's Creed is doing pretty well right now with Black Flag Resyncs. That's going well. They just passed 3 million copies sold, by the way. That's crazy. Already. 3 million copies sold. Again, notice copies sold. They're proudly proclaiming how much they've actually sold, which is change of pace. You know, you better believe this is the boon that Ubisoft needed. And the fact that it's coming from the team that did Skull and Bones is amazing. I mean, that's crazy. Like, you would have thought that, Quebec or Montreal will be the one that comes out with the first like big hit after they have a drought for years and years. But no, it's the Skull and Bones team is the one that hits it out of the park. It's wild. But anyway, yeah, I think it's not super common for multiplayer games to have overwhelmingly positive alphas. A lot of the time there's a lot of clunk and problems. I've heard pretty much nothing but good things from the State of Decay 1. And there's other much bigger budget multiplayer games that have done alphas recently where the feedback has not been positive. So I think that's going to see the light of day. Like, I'd be stunned if they like canned it, but I guess we'll see. Squareband, thank you for the 2. I miss when I was ignorant of Todd and was cool. Oh, well, once you go Todd, you can never go back. That's what they say. V20s, thank you for that super chat. Luke, what's up? My super chat, Giga Chad. I almost said super chat. I did say super chat. My super Giga Chat is what you typed. Thank you, my friend. Are you tracking the War Dogs game? Is shaping up to be amazing. Give me hopes. I'm here for confirmation bias. I've come for you to validate what I already think. This is one, my brothers actually talked about this. If you guys don't know, War Dogs is like this, it's like a attack. It's probably, maybe tac sim is too aggressive, but it's more of a tactical shooter war sim type game. So my brothers followed it closely. I don't know too much about it, if I'm being honest, but my brothers followed it closely, and he's really excited, and he's usually really into those games. So as far as I know, it's looking good. AA Ron, thank you for that 5 again. I just don't want another linear Fallout game. Just give me Fallout 5 with the graphics of 4, but the decision making and consequences of New Vegas. Well, it's pretty clear that the core narrative fan base desperately wants Consequence RPG to return. That's not what BGS's priority has been for a very long time. I don't know why this is, like, I don't think this is controversial, but I like, maybe it is. BGS, I don't think has ever been very good at true role playing. Like, that's just not what they do. They're great at sandboxes. They're great at open world adventure. They're great at that stuff. They suck at like making gritty, meaningful stories that like have real consequence where your story diverts completely based on your choices. That's not what they do. Larian, that's what they do. Obsidian back in the day, they did that all the time, very confidently and proudly. That's never been BGS's strong suit. Like, when was the last time that they really, like, oh, you have choice and consequence in Skyrim. You can go over to the College of Winterhold and you can become the professor or not, or the head of the school or whatever the title is. It's like the extent of consequence is, did you do this quest or not? It's not really a matter of like true choice and consequence within the stories. It's just whether you started that branch of the tree determines everything, I don't know. Fallout 3 did an okay job at it. Well, most people's reference to like Fallout 3 would be like Megaton, for example, right? Like they'll point to that as an example of real consequence. It's like, yeah, it's true. Like, yeah, you can blow the city up. City, more of like a village, but you can blow it up or not. And the reason you blow it up is because like a guide tells you to and is gonna like hook you up if you help him. There's not a whole lot of narrative depth to it, to the choice and consequence. But the games are still fun, to be clear. But I think you'll have more fun if you go into it expecting the right things, right? And I think that's what's kind of jarring, is that a lot of people went into Fallout 4 expecting Fallout New Vegas levels of choice and consequence and role play.
At Wyatt Clark,
That's just not what it is.
6,576 donated $19.99 through Super Chat.
Thank you.
As a Fallout fan, I have to stop complaining when I remember Elder Scrolls fans have waded through Fallout 4, Fallout 76, a TV show.
Oh, cut off. Probably 4 seasons by Elder Scrolls 6, and maybe even 2 remakes all before ES6. Yeah. That's fair. That's fair. This is why, but like, honestly, I know people are like excited for Fallout projects. Maybe honestly, let me know in chat. This is going to be anecdotal. Okay. This is going to be anecdotal. XYS Killer donated through Stream Elements. Oh, thank you for letting me know. It's been like glitched the last handful of days. So if it didn't pop up, put in chat what your message was and I can read it. You don't have to send another donation or anything. Just put in chat what you said so I can see it. Honest question. This is going to be anecdotal, but I want to hear your perspective based on your circle of friends and people you've spoken to. Based on my interactions with people, it seems like there is a devoted fan base of like Fallout fans that really want another Fallout game. I do not see anywhere near as large a group of people that feel the same way about Elder Scrolls. Like the excitement around New Vegas 2 or whatever Obsidian's project ends up being, or Fallout 5 or whatever, that excitement and energy is massive. I don't see anywhere near the same level of energy for Elder Scrolls 6. And I think there was that level back in 2018, 2019. And maybe that was because it was just announced or whatever, and the show hadn't happened for Fallout. And so maybe that's part of it. But it seems to me that the fan base for Fallout is at least currently larger and more energized than for Elder Scrolls. And I think it's probably because, the game was originally announced like almost a decade ago. It's just frankly hard to foster a community when you abandon them for 15 years at a time. Like even if you point to like, well, GTA's fine. Yeah, but GTA wasn't abandoned for that long. Like GTA, as crazy as it is to say, the vast majority of players, if you look at a player count like metric, the vast majority of GTA players are playing GTA Online. They're not playing the story modes. So they're just excited for GTA. And they've been getting updates the whole time, like they've not been abandoned at all. Like story-based GTA fans, sure. Yeah, they've been left, to wait for 15 or I guess 13 years. But the vast majority of players on a like statistical level are multiplayer players. So I think when you just look at ESO, like, yeah, they've had Elder Scrolls Online, But it seems like the vast majority of players who are interested in Elder Scrolls are interested in the single player stuff, not the online. Like there's a devoted fan base of the online stuff, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of overlap, at least as far as I can tell. But maybe you guys will correct me. I'm not sure. Really, with all the increase in costs in the market and cost of living increasing, you still think people are going to buy the PlayStation 6? I thought that people wouldn't because of new prices and wouldn't know how much of a generational jump we'll be getting. Well, I think it's going to be fully cross-generational for years, so I don't think there's going to be much reason to buy it other than just having the latest and greatest. I think it's going to be a bit of a social status thing, so you're going to see people buy it, and they'll put it very conveniently in their setup, like right next to them, so you can see that they bought a PlayStation 6 because they got money. It's like walking around with a Rolex or a nice pair of sneakers. I don't know, shoes, but there's probably really nice shoes that people see them and go, ooh, nice shoes, you know?
At Own Knight donated £20 through Super Chat. Let's face it, the only reason Foe and ES is still alive is the modding community. The modding community fixed Skyrim when it launched, broke and embarrassed Bethesda into fixing their mess. Bethesda have always been lazy.
Bethesda have always been lazy. I think I'll get into the next segment because we're going to talk about the modding community and the very interesting phrasing that was used in an interview by Todd and Asha that I think explains why Asha is doubling down on creations fully. And when I read it, I was like, oh my God, no. So I'll explain it. But there's a reason why Asha likes BGS and thinks there's a lot of potential that's untapped. So, yeah, we'll get to that. And it's a pretty clear reason why she's not going to, I don't think at this point, she's not going to let them move to Unreal Engine. After reading this, I was like, oh, no, they're not doing that. No, they're sticking to it for sure. But how many people do I think are going to move over to or buy PlayStation 6? I think it's going to sell out. I don't think they're going to manufacture many consoles, to be honest, but they'll sell 1 million or 2 million units in the first year, a comparatively small amount compared to last and previous generations. They'll sell some, but it'll be a niche product for sure. It's going to be like having a 5080 or 5090. Like if you have it, cool. Your games will look better technically than other people's, but we're all still going to be playing the same games because I don't think they're going to do anything exclusive to the PlayStation 6 for a long time because there's just no point. Current analyst estimates, the Alinea Analytics stats were, I believe, 2 million in the first year roughly. And then roughly 4.4 million by 2030, by the end of 2030. That means in a year to 2 years after launch, they expect to have only shipped like 4 million units of the PlayStation 6. And that's assuming they lower the price down into the $600 to $800 range, which they may not do. So I don't think many PlayStation 6s are going to be out there compared to PS5s and PS4s. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be ground shaking. What about buying on the secondhand market? Well, to buy a PS6 on the secondhand market means somebody had to sell it. So somebody bought it for $1,000 and then they want to sell it within 6 months or a year. I mean, you're probably not going to be getting that good of a deal on it. Like they'll probably sell it for $900. You know, I don't think the secondhand market for PlayStation 6s are going to be much of anything, frankly. But let's do, did I read those? Where did I leave off? I just don't want to, okay, I read that one. L Murphy, thank you for the 10. Did you see Maddie's newest Fallout video? Was an interesting watch. I have not seen it. We could look at it if you guys wanted me to take a look at it. I have not seen it. Thank you for letting me know. If you guys would like me to check it out, we can. Quasars, thank you for the 10 as well. Hey there, Luke, long time watcher, first time commenter. Glad to have you. I love when lurkers come out and chat. I'm hearing that the Steam Frame could drop any day between now and December. How much more than the Steam Machine do you think it will cost? I think it's probably in the same ballpark. I guess maybe like 13 to 1500. That's probably where it's sitting, would be my guess, but who knows anymore, man? Like it's a total cluster. Who can keep track of any of this? It's all just depressing. Okay. Let me read this last one from David, and then I will catch him on the later super chats once we do our first segment. Okay. let's see. I think the difference between PC games and the subsequent PlayStation 6 games would more than make up the price for a PC setup eventually. Plus, then you get the multifunctionality of a PC. Well, to be clear, I agree that if you're playing in the ballpark of like $1,200 for a PS5, or maybe like pushing and stretching to get to $2K to buy a PC, go PC. Like, you'll save money in the long run. You get the multifunctionality of it for sure. You get the long-term upgradability and expansion and everything with the PC. If you go a little tighter on the budget for the PC, you can also like swap out the GPU later in the generation's life. You wait a year or two and then you upgrade the GPU a couple of years in once prices stabilize, or you buy a used one from some dude that needed to sell his 4070, you can pick that up for way cheaper and you just swap it in. I think at that point PC becomes much more compelling personally, but I mean, I'm a PC gamer through and through, so that's just kind of my feeling on it. But okay, let me read these real quick. I want to get into this. I want to talk about this thing that you brought up. I think it was Owen Knight. Thank you for that. I also wanted to show you guys this. I thought this was funny. Jeff Keighley. She told me she was going to New York for a girls' trip. I love it, dude. Jeff, you're too good for her. Miss Piggy keeps playing with your heart. She keeps dragging you along. Her heart belongs to Kermie. It's pretty clear. You can try to force it, man, but she's just going to take your heart. And, I feel for him. He deserves better. I was in the cast for Emberville. Dude, it's jam-packed. Okay, let's talk about, is this the tab? Yes, this is it. Okay, this is it. Okay. So, new mini segment thing. So last week, of course, there was the big news that Asha Sharma seemingly kind of twisted Todd's arm and said, you're going to go talk to people and you're going to tell people what you're working on. We're not doing this stay quiet for 5 years at a time. We're not doing this whole take 20 years between releases thing. We're going to get our act together. And as a result of that, Todd did a number of interviews. He did the one with Jason Schreier, of course, which seems like it was a pretty small, quick interview, about 20 minutes, I believe is what he said it was. But still, symbolically, it was a big step. Furthermore, he also spoke to Windows Central, did some stuff with Jez Corden over there. And in that interview, they, of course, described how the Creation Engine 3 was what was being used to build out Fallout 5 and the Elder Scrolls 6. And what Todd has started to describe here is a lot of the same language that has been used across a lot of user-generated content, mills, farms, games, platforms, whatever, like Fortnite, like Minecraft, and like Roblox, most importantly. And I need you to remember that Asha Sharma, she comes from the outside. She's looking at what are the biggest gaming platforms in the world, and she is looking at things like Fortnite and like Roblox and finding, or perhaps seeing opportunity is probably how she would say it. She's seeing opportunity there. And so, as you can see, we spoke to Todd Howard about the power of Creation Engine 3 and how Roblox has validated Bethesda's focus on independent creators. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I hear anything related to like Fallout and the Elder Scrolls brought up in the same sentence or paragraph as Roblox, I instantly get heartburn, okay? Instantaneously. As you can see, they describe kind of the broader stuff of what's going on and what they're doing. As you can see here, he gets into the nitty gritty of it. Creation Engine has always been more of a sandbox play, in my view, designed for extensibility first and foremost, and rapid iteration on huge scale worlds. It's also designed for modding at its core, with Creation Club members earning over $10 million in revenue since the platform's inception. This is what, I mean, he describes it as 10 million since the platform's inception, which was like in 2018, I think was initially revealed. I believe the statement described it, the way it was phrased in the official statement from Bethesda, or from, no, it was from Bethesda. It sounded like it was actually $10 million in Fallout 4 alone, but it could be maybe they meant across the whole platform. If it's only $10 million has been generated for modders in 8 years, that's way less than I would have thought personally. If it's just in Fallout 4, that would make more sense since that's only like a year or two, but maybe it is 10 million in a decade. That seems like it's not really worth all the headache and drama. But anyway, I caught up with Todd Howard recently to talk about a variety of topics, including how Creation Engine 3 is being leveraged in Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6, and how he's thinking about the platform given the rise of Roblox and Minecraft's own platform extensible features. I think expandable maybe would make more sense. Extensible, maybe that's a British thing. Is that a British term, extensible? I don't think I've ever heard a like American use that word. But to be fair, we don't tend to use words more than like 2 syllables. When we build these worlds, it starts with the tech. A lot of people think engine, they think rendering, but there's so much more that goes into it from a tool side and a system side, like how we sell you paid mods. That's the key for the kind of worlds that we want to build, and also knowing that we were going to be doing Fallout 5, and just how do we do those simultaneously in a way where it's not start and stop. And we're really happy. I can't say enough about our tech team. It's just incredible. Our designers ask for so much crazy stuff, and our tech team finds a way to do it. And I think that's really defined our games, where you feel like anything is possible. Except going in a building without a load screen. That's not possible. But if you want to like buy a bag in the game, but spend like real world money on it, we can do that. That is possible. Anything's possible. I'm sorry. Feeling bitchy today. I mentioned the stat Bethesda brought up. 10 million has been paid out to creators. Oh, so he actually mentioned it to Todd. Maybe I guess it does mean, if he didn't correct him, it does mean 10 million has been paid out in the Creation Club program across games like Fallout and Starfield. And Todd doesn't correct him, saying that's just for Fallout 4. So I guess it is 10 million in close to a decade that's been paid out. That seems low, does it not? Like, granted, a lot of the creations are free. Yes. A lot of them are like $1, $2, $5, whatever. But that seems low, does it not? Am I being unreasonable? 10 million across 8 years and like a bunch of games doesn't seem like a lot. Like, I think it was, what was the stat on Black Flag Resincts? Black Flag. There were some stats on the like microtransaction sales on Black Flag Resynced, and it was way more than I would have thought. It was way more. Black Flag Resynced, MTX. Maybe I can find it. I had it bookmarked at one point. Can I find it or can I not? That's the question. That's the question. Because it was something like, you know, a 6% attach rate on a lot of these DLC items that were, I think it was the map. It was the map DLC that's like $5. 6% of people who bought the game bought the map pack for $5, which is crazy. That was just on Steam, so maybe on console it's more or less. But yeah, here we go. Reese from Linear Analytics did this. Okay, yeah. So for Black Flag Resynced alone, just on Steam, on its like first day, it sold more than $1 million in day one DLC. The DLC bought by units was $5 map pack with a 6.34% attach rate. Every $10 pack landed at just under 2.65%. Still, 2 out of 100, 1 out of 50 people bought at least one of the $10 cosmetic packs. Like 1 in 50. And so on the first day, they made $1 million in Black Flag Resynced. With those cosmetics and stuff. So 10 million paid out to creators over like 8 years and multiple games seems shockingly little, but anyway. Anyway, continue on. I mentioned the stat that Bethesda brought up. $10 million has been paid out to creators in the Creation Club program across games like Fallout 4 and Starfield. Given the rise of Roblox as a user-generated content juggernaut, I asked if these industry shifts have informed how Creation Engine 3 will show up. Quote, if you go back, something we've been super passionate about since we sort of started this run with Morrowind, I was adamant that I wanted Elder Scrolls construction set to come with the game, like as a separate disc, and we've been doing it for decades. We have a creator group that have been doing it for decades. It's what kept games like Skyrim alive for after 15 years, which I do think is true. There was a super chat that you guys sent in. Oon Knight said, with a very generous $20 on YouTube, said, quote, let's face it, the only reason Fallout and Elder Scrolls are still alive is the modding community. The modding community fixed Skyrim when it launched broke and embarrassed Bethesda into fixing their mess. Bethesda have always been lazy. I think that the modding community has always picked up a lot of the slack. And unfortunately, when you know that someone's going to be there to pick up your slack, you're okay with leaving it slack. You know, when you know that there's somebody following behind you, picking up your crumbs, you don't stress too much about not dropping crumbs. And that's just kind of what's happened over 20 plus years of this, is that there are regularly things in these games that could be added by the core team before launch. Could be a mandate. We need this by launch. And they just don't bother with it. I mean, the fact that even today to play Fallout 4, you have to like have a pretty healthy loadout of mods to avoid a lot of the persistent technical issues that exist within the game. Like to this day, I am not joking, on Fallout 4, if you try to play it on PC without mods or any extra tweaks to INI files or anything, you just play it vanilla. If you run it at too high of a frame rate, the animations break. Like your character will run at 2x speed and the physics sim breaks because it ties the physics sim to the frame rate. What? The game's over 10 years old and they still have that problem. What are we doing? See you guys. How dare you? Caleb with 5. Breaking news. Out of touch rich finance bro. 1%er Luke Stevens thinks $10 million is nothing and not worth the effort. Does he hate brokies? Yeah. And then also, where did it go? Not only is Luke a rich finance bro, he's also 6'5" and yeah, and shredded too. Shredded, totally ripped. Confirmed. Luke doesn't think $10 million is much money. What was I saying? I lost track of thought. Yeah, anyway, it's crazy that Fallout 4 to this day still has bugs and things broken in it that they could have fixed, but they don't. And they don't because they know there's already mods that fix it. So if you really care, you'll just download the mod. Who cares? Why would we spend time doing that? Why would we fix our game when they're going to fix it for us and then we don't have to do that? Yeah. And but it's because Todd, they might sell the fix. So then we have a problem in our game and then they have to pay to fix it. Yeah, but we get a cut of that. If they buy it through Game Pass or one of our primary platforms, Xbox takes 30%. We take 40%. The modder gets 30%. So they get some money, some kickback for fixing this problem for us. And then we make 70 cents on the dollar. Why would we fix it? Like, it creates an incentive to never fix anything. It really does. He continues, it harkens back to when you played D&D and you can make your own adventures. That spirit of creation. It takes a lot of different flavors. So it's really about supporting all those different flavors. I think we're in an awesome spot with creations with verified creators and they're getting that revenue. It has risen all boats. Free modding too, with those things being more popular. You see people who maybe they were hobbyists on the side now becoming professional, and the content they create, maybe then the content in there blows us away. They just do an incredible job. And for some, now this is their career, and that makes us ecstatic. Yeah, because you make money on all of it. Why not? yeah, that similar change now revolves around a lot of user-generated content in a lot of ways. Roblox is now bigger than Steam and PlayStation combined as creators build out entire games and worlds and build entire businesses inside Roblox itself. The Creation Club was a pioneer in that space to some degree, along with Minecraft, giving modding community ways to turn their hobbies and passions into careers that pay the bills. This, I think, is the reason why in the official main statement from BGS described creations as like one of the very first things that they were focused on. Like it was one of the very first things that they outlined. I'm gonna actually pull it up and we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Like this is where it is. So you can see Starfield Continues was the first thing they said. But prior to that, they also described how they wanted to give creators a bigger role in shaping their experiences. So that's what's driving us forward. We're invested more deeply in the worlds players love. Okay, so Fallout, Elder Scrolls, giving creators a bigger role in shaping their experiences. That's user-generated content. User-generated content is just what Roblox is, to be very clear. Roblox, of course, is freaking gigantic, but it is a game platform basically that's built around like all of these mini experiences is probably what you call it. So like this will make you feel so old. I'm just going to show you, okay? I'm just going to show you. I'm going to take one for the team and I'm going to search Roblox. It just kind of sucks right now. Like there's very little. One of our videos was pulled up. Roblox. Okay. I'm going to get inundated with all this. I love how top videos. What is Roblox? Why do people play it? Roblox is this platform for a bunch of 40-year-old people to try and entertain children. But beyond that, they...
Not your friend. And I found the most cursed Labubu games in Roblox. Can we survive all three? Let's see. Starting with Be a Labubu, Brain Rot. So you start as this itty bitty, creepy, and cute at the same time. I still don't know.
She has 6 million subs. What's this one?
Guys, today we're playing Animal Hospital, but
he has 10 million subs.
We have mods. I'm in the game, right? And I have a lot of things I can do in here. So first of all, I'm rainbow. What the heck? There's rainbow animals? So yeah, this is literally just Animal Hospital. Looks exactly the same, right? We got mods though. So look at this. We could skip shifts right here if we wanted to. We could skip 5 shifts. We could skip 50 shifts. That takes you like 2-3 hours to get through. So that's pretty crazy.
Okay. Well, it's a bunch of mini games basically. So people build out games within Roblox and then you can load into it and then play those games. I played Paint My Keyboard in Roblox. It's like a separate mini game. Okay. And then they've got these, there's like all these different game modes. Dude, I feel so old. Roblox mukbang game. He has 12 million subs for this, fam. Like, I'm in the wrong business. I'm in the wrong business. Okay, so it's just like all of these bright, flashy colors. It's clearly designed for a younger audience, okay? But it gets views. This video has 3.8 million views. What? But this is what it is. So Roblox builds a platform. And then they create a bunch of games for these in these different, like, I guess, viral potential tranches. And then like the creators promote it for free because they get crazy amounts of money from ad revenue on all of it. And it's freaking massive. If you don't realize, like, because it's outside of our normal bubble, I just want to show you this. Okay. If I expand this out, the all-time player peak on Roblox, which is one platform, one game, like it's just its own thing, was 47.3. We'll just round up 4,000 people. 47.3 million players. Do you guys happen to know the all-time peak on Steam? It was 42 million. The all-time peak on Steam was significantly lower than the peak on Roblox. Okay. Roblox. Yeah. And here I was thinking that Roblox was stupid. Like, the point of me bringing this up is that Roblox is freaking massive. So when somebody like Asha comes in and is looking at the gaming business, she's looking at this. She's saying, how do we get them kids? She's looking at this. She's like, how do we do that? How do we do that? Because that's huge. That's a huge deal. Okay. You'd see also they have to track daily active users by age. The blue bar represents over 13-year-olds, and the green bar represents under 13 years old. Like 40 million under 13. Like, this is where all the kids went. They stopped playing console games. They stopped buying Switches. This is where they are. Okay. So when Asha's trying to figure out where do we go, where do we spend money, where do we invest, she's looking at user-generated content. She's looking at stuff like Roblox. And for her, on the Xbox side of things, they have a few platforms and a few places where they kind of have user-generated content. They've got Minecraft, which prints money for them, and is also very popular among the younger generation. But they also have Creations. They also have this platform within Bethesda games for user-generated content, different game modes, potentially, eventually, they could do that. And I think that that's where she's going to put a lot of investment, is that she wants Creations not to be cast aside as paid mods and microtransactions. She sees, I think, Creations, and so does Todd, as a potential to start to play into this like Roblox area, where like you could have Fallout 5 launch and it's got the Battle Royale mode that you can play with your friends. And then it's got a separate mode, which is the Fallout Settlement Simulator, where, you have NPCs that you have to juggle and assign to different houses and manage their routines. And then there's another mode within Fallout 5 that allows you to play like, a hunter mini game where you go out and you just hunt in Fallout 5. And then of course there's the story mode, but it's mainly about the user generated content. That's the same exact thing that built up GTA Online, was user generated content and races and stuff. I think, Fallout prop hunt mode. I think that's what they want. I think that's their vision for the future of all this. And that's why I think that they don't want to, and they never will, scrap the Creation Engine, because all of their tools for this have been built on the Creation Engine. So moving and scrapping it would represent a massive loss for them. So why would we do that? So I think the user-generated content is just I think that's the North Star. I think that's the one that they're looking at as inspiration. They like the idea of having another platform, another place for people to go in and treat as a platform. That seems to have been Todd's approach with a lot of these IPs, to build them into platforms. That's what Fallout 76 has been. It starts to make sense when you look at it and you're like, why does Todd constantly tell people who like the narrative games, go play Fallout 76? Like, we have Fallout 76, go play that. It's because he wants it to be like their Roblox for Fallout. Like, he wants that to be the place where you go, you can play some of the story missions, or you can just go do some raids with your friends, or you can just do the settlement building and base building and stuff. Like, you just go wherever you want. Treat it like a platform. That's what they want. I think that that's the vision. And once I read it and I realized, like, oh, I think that I think all of this is just a big push for user generated content to be built out. It made sense, I'm going to be honest. It kind of all clicked together in a very depressing way, because I think that's exactly what they're going to do. Yeah, live with the consequences. It's true. It's true. Hugo, thank you for the 5. I play Elder Scrolls games vanilla. I just love the lore and would appreciate anything. Books, comics. Well, hopefully you get a treat soon enough. It's just, I think, again, their vision is for these games to be like, Elder Scrolls becomes kind of generic fantasy as a platform for everybody with Creations. Because every year when they've done expansions to games, like their big announcement for Fallout was that they were adding Creations to Fallout 4. With the anniversary update. That was like their big push, was to add paid mods. But that's where they're putting a lot of their effort. I mean, they could have spent that time making sure the update didn't break VATs. They didn't do that. They put the effort in building out the in-game store, you know? So I think that Elder Scrolls is going to 6 is going to have creations on a whole other level. I mean, I think that's where a lot of this effort's gone. So that's just how it is. Can't Asha release Fallout London officially? Theoretically, probably. Like if they went and bought out the team and bought out the project, and then they went and did that, like, I guess theoretically, but I don't think she would do that. Like at this point, is it worth the hassle? It's a free update. It's a free mod right now. So like, what would be the benefit of a user going and doing that? Because she wouldn't do that and then release it for free. I don't think so. I think she'd sell it to you for $20. So I don't think there's a lot of incentive for them to do it. Wallet the Great, thank you for that. Whoops, I scrolled too far. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. Where'd it go? I just got around to playing Shadows, and good lord, the voice acting is so bad I'm literally falling asleep out of boredom, and I'm a story game guy. Yeah, dude, the way I put it in my review was that it was painfully dry. Painfully dry. I got called racist for that, which was weird. And it was because, dude, if you just search Nawe dialogue, you get AC Shadows 10 out of 10 voice acting. I got called racist for saying that this was dry.
Grow quietly without much warning after a storm. Mushrooms can too. Shiitake?
I am eager.
Back for more mushrooms. They continue to grow with resilience.
I mean, that's a food vendor. That wasn't Nawe, but you get the point. That's kind of how a lot of the voice acting is, unfortunately. Let's see. This is another cutscene.
We must strike now.
I am ready.
We will begin our attack once you are inside the temple. Find Lord Nobunaga quickly, and you may finally avenge your father's death.
Oda Nobunaga took everything I loved. He will not escape.
If we are to succeed, you must not fail. Go!
Like, the voice acting, they all seem like they don't want to be there, for one. The energy is super low. I think that there's also a certain rhythm to dialogue that maybe it's you know, a difference in presentation. Maybe it's a cultural difference. I don't know. But all I know is that it makes you want to fall asleep when you listen to it. You know, like it just does. Okay, so maybe we need to figure it out. And I didn't feel that way with other games set in Japan. Like I didn't feel that way with Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Yotei was not as good as Tsushima narratively, but it didn't have me falling asleep during cutscenes. But with Assassin's Creed Shadows, so often it's like, bro, where is the energy? Where is the energy? What are we doing? It's frustrating, man. Yes, he killed my father. I will make him pay. Another one I got crap for not liking was, I don't remember the guy's name. Trash. I think it was the trash dealer. Is this it?
So, claim the fruits.
Thanks, Bridges.
This whole cutscene was so weird.
Are you hurt? Thanks, Bridges. I can't believe you're alive.
He's just over there.
That's my line, silly.
I thought you were dead.
My mom told me you were.
I kept it close. Always. But after the attack,
Like he's giving it his all. Like there's nuance.
I thought about fixing it, getting the sand flowing again. But it felt too much like moving on. for getting you.
Well, now we can both move on. Together, you and me. If you're ready.
Like, I remember talking about this at the time the game came out, and I was just like, it's my understanding that she's a Japanese actor where English is not her first language, okay? And my stance is that, like, in this scene in particular, I'm sorry, I think you can tell. There's certain intonations and rhythms of English speaking that are not being hit here, and so it just is like it doesn't click, it just doesn't flow properly. And I think it, at least for me, kind of takes me out of it, because the whole scene I was just like and you're right, look up the Japanese dub. The Japanese dub is not like that. That was not like a directorial choice to like have the dialogue be super stilted. That was just like the performer. And so I was like, okay, so it was just the performance was disjointed, because the Japanese dub is not like that. The Japanese dub is in my opinion much better. She was just some celebrity that Kojima wanted to scan, I guess. I don't know who she is, but I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. Real quick, I do have a video that I'm working on where I want to finally kind of break down the what I think is going on with the Ubisoft cutscene problem, because I think there's multiple different angles to it. There's a lot of them that are obvious, like writing. Some of the performances I think are subpar. Personally, sometimes it's a mixture of delivery that's not clicking with direction that isn't working, and so it feels really disjointed. The clearest example, though, and what made me want to finally make the video, was AC Resynced, or Black Flag Resynced, because it will literally have original motion capture cutscene that's phenomenal, and then 5 minutes later you'll get a new cutscene that was not original that they added for the Resynced, and it is so obvious which is which. It's fascinating to have them side by side and be like, oh, like we can actually see what this is like on modern tech, on a modern engine, like what this looks like when it's done really, really well and when it's done poorly. And like you can see so clearly the difference, and it makes it much easier to break it down into why this works and this doesn't. So yeah, I'll be working on that. Don't worry. I have a strong feeling that AC Hexa will stop this. The difficult, and I'm hopeful too. I really hope that you're right. My only concern, and I don't have like secret knowledge or whatever, my only fear is that the new guys, Jean Guidon being the primary guy that's now in charge of the franchise, along with two other guys that are kind of supervising everything. He came in, I believe, early this year. Hexa was originally supposed to launch, as far as I'm aware, early this year. So I think by the time he took over, he has reportedly changed stuff. I think Insider Gamer was suggesting and reporting that he was stripping out a lot of magic. Like there was a lot of magical stuff where like the character just can randomly cast spells and stuff. And they're stripping out a lot of that, redoing a lot of stuff. And so I do think he's trying to change stuff. But a lot of what the game is, a lot of that stuff that's been built and established, I think is what it is. So Hexa is in this really weird transitionary period because it was mostly made under the last group of leadership that loved the magic, that loved, I mean, the guys that did AC Shadows basically and Star Wars Outlaws. Like those are the guys that made this in terms of like broader executive supervise or I guess supervising. Of course, Ubisoft Massive is the ones that did Star Wars Outlaws, but the same like overarching managerial structure supervised both of them. So I hope that you're right. I hope they are overhauled and all of it is way better, but we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to tweak in a short amount of time, I think, if they actually want to get it out relatively quickly. Let's see. I'm betting Kojima's Fizzant game will be exclusive to PlayStation 6, but I doubt it releases until 2032 at the earliest. Thank you, Christopher, for that. I wouldn't say 2032, but I do think it's going to come out pretty late because it's my understanding he's doing OD first, right? I think it's OD and then Fizzant, I believe, but I could be wrong. I think that's right, though. Let's see. Swedge, thank you for the 2. Luke, have you seen the cast reveal for Emberville? Yeah, dude, it's stacked. I don't know where they got the budget for all those people, but yeah, it's stacked. It looks crazy. Chernobyl, thank you for that one. Since Sony said they're not going to sell at a loss, could their new chip factory JASM reduce cost? Theoretically, sure. Practically and realistically, probably not. Like, because their factory is going to be responsible for the same stuff for all of their other products. So like if they're going to try to manufacture stuff for their TVs, for their cameras, for the consoles and everything, like that's all, stacked in with it. I'm not sure about the specific chip factory JASM. It's my understanding that there's only 1 or 2 companies in the world that can build out the chips that AMD is creating for next generation consoles. And it's basically TSMC is the main ones because they use a smaller nanometer process that not every fab can do. It's like a super, super, super specialized thing. I don't know if it's 3 nanometer process or 5 or what they're doing, but it's ridiculous. So I'm not even sure if that new plant is capable of making the chips that would be used for like the SoC or that would be used for the RAM and memory modules. I don't know. But I know it's not as simple as just one fab. To fix a lot of these problems, you need like China needs to get a couple of their own fabs up and running and just flood the market with supply and steal market share. And that's what they're working on doing, but it's going to be tricky. Let's see. Chris Benai, thank you for the membership, my friend. Thank you. Paul, thank you for that 5. If you had to step inside a video game and live there, accepting every rule, risk, and the reality of the world, which game are you choosing? Hi from DR. If I had to choose one world to live within, do I get to choose by role? Like my position in it? Because if I'm like, oh, I'll be like the CEO of Arasaka. Boom. Done. But if it's like, no, you're just an NPC, you're just a random dude, then I'm like, oh, because then you could say KCD, sure, but KCD, like, for a peasant, it's not great. Not a great time. So, like, do you really want that? I don't know. It's a good question. I know it's not that serious, but I'm thinking about it seriously. Man, it probably should be something lightweight and funny or fun, like kitschy, campy, something not too crazy. GTA, just be an NPC that gets run down. Dench attack, yeah, with the trains, that would be funny. I want to be the rail. Yeah, it's probably something. It's probably something like, honestly, something like from Nintendo probably would be good. Like live in the world of Zelda or something like that. That could be really, really fun. It's just lightweight, casual, relaxing. I think that could be cool. Persona, I could see Persona being cool. Let's talk about vibe. Yeah, that'd be good. RDR2, yeehaw, indeed. Yeehaw, indeed. I want to be the horse. I want to be Duchess Horse specifically. Don't ask me why. Dude, I started replaying Red Dead 2. Oh, dude, it's so good. It's stupid. Especially you'll like, because like I said, I started working on this video on Ubisoft writing and cutscenes and stuff. And bro, it's not even close. Like, it's ridiculous. When you break down like individual little pieces, whether it be like motion capture quality, that's one thing, obviously, or like voice acting quality, that's another thing. But like the writing and how they stage things is so consistently phenomenal. Where like you'll be walking out of a room and Dutch is there and he will have a full conversation with you. Totally optional. You can just keep walking and blow right past him. But it's like an actual conversation that just happens. It doesn't break into a cutscene. It's just a conversation between you two as he's like developing the character and then it's just, you just walk away and continue on your way. And like that dynamic conversation that's totally optional has way better writing than like anything you see in a lot of these other modern AAA games. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's outrageous. It makes you go like, am I crazy, or is this like way better? Dovi Dasba, thank you for being here, my friend. Glad to have you. Much love. Glad to hear that, my friend. I have a plan, Arthur. Need some goddamn faith. Luke, Google Wiseblock Jackdaw Epic Warship Edition. I just got it in the mail and started building. Also, Lego Artemis 2 was a blast to build. Wiseblock Jackdaw Epic. Wiseblock Jackdaw Epic Warship Edition. Hell yeah. Whoop. Hell yeah. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. Oh, that's really fun. Oh, and you can separate it out. That's cool. I like that. I like when you can separate the models. My Titanic does that too. You can break it apart into pieces and see each of the decks. It's pretty cool. That's awesome. That's a good one. You gotta love crossover events. That's great. Okay, let me reload. Hagen Grimm, thank you for the sub over on Twitch, my friend. Tahiti. Indeed, Katie. Tahiti. Arthur. Gotta go to an island. Island paradise. I'm an island boy, Arthur. Real quick, I just wanted to show you guys this. Mini segment thing. I saw this tweet from Jay, who is a Starfield fan, talks about it a good amount on socials, but posted this one. Since Starfield launched, one of the biggest requests from some players has been the ability to take off from a planet and fly seamlessly into space without a loading screen. Personally, it's never bothered me much, but for others, it has been near the top of their wish list since day one. Now, thanks to modder OX or 0x Bobby, that dream is much closer to becoming a reality. Seamless planet takeoffs is now available in beta on Nexus Mods. It's a brand new and still rough around the edges, but this absolutely one to watch as it continues to improve. And here's a little snippet. I mean, it shows you.
Pumping retros. Orbit achieved. Stabilizing. Done.
Todd. Bobby did it. Third person test, okay. Bobby built this in his garage in a cave with a box of scraps. So, bro, I remember when the game was still in the marketing phase and they hadn't confirmed anything about it. A simple question, like, can I fly my ship from this spot over there? Can I just move my ship? Because my whole point, I remember we were looking at it in the pre-marketing or in the marketing phase. It was like, what if I see a point of interest way over there and I don't want to run? Because remember, there was no rover at launch. So it's like, can I just fly the ship over there real quick so I don't have to run for 5 minutes? Like, nope. But that was a super controversial thing. People were telling me in the comments, they're like, no, Todd's going to reveal that is in the game, but he's not going to do that till like launch because he wants it to be a surprise. Now. Okay. Little transition. Not bad. I don't know if it despawns the planet behind you or if it is able to cover it up. I'm not sure. I did try to download this mod. It is available on Nexus. Did not work. It did not work. It caused my game to persistently crash. So I gotta delete everything and reinstall. We'll try again another day, but it does seem like a cool idea at the very least. Bo B. Ross has a YouTube channel where he posted some of these tests trying to build it out. And of course it is rough around the edges. He's not claiming it isn't. And this is not final release software or anything, but it proves that it is technically possible in the purest sense of the term to get this working to some degree, like to be able to actually go in and get the warp effect achieved, as he's got here, where he's taking off from the surface, aims up at the sky. And I'm not sure exactly how he's doing it. It might be like, it's a smooth transition. So he keeps the skybox the same, I guess, and then warps you. But it's not clear if this is actually like if you were to warp to orbit, or if this is a separate like intermediary orbit map or fishbowl that he's made to transition into. I'm not exactly sure how it works. Again, I wanted to test it myself, but couldn't get it working. But it is technically impressive that he was able to get it working. As you can see, like the little mod versus vanilla comparison to show this. And we've looked at these over the last few years, actually, since Starfield launched, looking at some of the mods that people have done. There's been some where they've gotten, full seamless traversal in the map's cells working. So like you're able to go from one cell to the next, warping between the two. It still has a bit of a stutter because it is loading between them, but it covers it up fairly well. I've seen worse. And you can see right here, you then warp into orbit, and in this case it just goes here. But again, like I said, I don't know if this is technically a secondary cell that's been created, but either way, kind of cool. So there are still some modders that are trying to salvage it as best they can, and I wish them the best of luck, and I wish they would get more direct support from Bethesda. But what are you gonna do? Won't fix a boring game. Well, that brings us to our next discussion, my friends. Because with this reveal of an interesting mod, this also accompanied a post from Synth Potato that got a lot of people talking and retweeting and sharing their thoughts, okay? Synth said, Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 are confirmed to be running on the Creation Engine. This means they will very likely both still require loading screens when entering interiors. I think this is one of the biggest weaknesses of Bethesda games. It really does feel outdated. And then, just accompanies a little video showcasing what this looks like when you're exploring in Neon, where you go through, and even just loading between zones of a map within a city requires load screens, okay? More notably, it's anytime that you travel between cells, you have a load screen. That's why I've said before, like, the load screens are not a death knell. I mean, it is not like the worst possible thing in a game. The problem is Starfield just happened to be like the worst possible layout for a game when it comes to exaggerating the loading screens, because it was just all fast travel all the time. And so you just spent most of your playtime in load screens, it felt like. But bro, this post ignited a firestorm of people agreeing and disagreeing and raging and freaking out. Some of the comments are I think legitimately interesting and constructive. But it more than anything started a discussion around the Creation Engine more generally. Now, as we went through earlier on stream, I don't think they're getting rid of the Creation Engine, because I think Asha wants to double down on the creations system, because she sees it as a venue for user-generated content to basically turn Bethesda games into mini Robloxes, mini Fortnites, mini GTA Onlines, and sell you those mini editions every step of the way. So they're not going to get rid of Creation Club because it's the platform upon which all of that has been built. But I do think that there is a valid discussion to be had around different features or limitations of the Creation Engine, because as we've seen, there are ways to overcome some of these restrictions if it is clear to the team that these need to be a priority to overcome. There was at launch for Starfield debate over whether like the 2, 3, 4 minutes of running between points of interest on a map was a big deal. It's crazy to think of now that that was even a debate, but it was, because basically when you loaded in, you'd land at the center of the fishbowl, and then there'd be points of interest scattered and spawned across the map. But the problem was the only way you could get there was by running on foot to each one. And so by the time you run between each of these, this might be a 5-minute run. This might be a 4-minute run. This is like another 5 minutes. This maybe only took you 3 minutes or whatever. But it's like 20 minutes when all is said and done of you just running with nothing to find between these points of interest. The only points of interest are the X's, but there was no other option. Later, after the feedback was resounding, BGS added a rover, which was a great addition. It was a really good one. And I think made the game better, frankly. And I think that that is good and they deserve credit for it. But that's because the feedback was resounding and they realized they needed to add a rover to take this from like 3 minutes down to like maybe 30 seconds, right? So still not ideal, but certainly way better. So with this, I think it's really important to have these conversations and to debate it so that the discourse can potentially generate change. Wow, they added something there that should have been there at launch. Well, unfortunately, one of the things that we've seen, and we'll talk about it a little bit, I think that there is a lot of there's a lot of maybe glazing and also at times cushioning that happens with every IP, to be clear, and with every studio. We've seen it with like Ubisoft, where people excuse things that are bad there because they like another thing within it. So like you may love Black Flag Resynced. I really love it too. I think it's a great recreation of the original. However, selling a $5 map pack, I didn't like it back in the day. I don't like it now. And it's okay to say that. I don't like gigantic, $10 skin packs at launch in the in-game store. Like I just don't like that. If I could choose, which one would you prefer, with or without? I'm choosing without, right? Just because you like a piece of it doesn't mean you have to like everything about it. Doesn't mean that you have to pretend like it's perfect. I can love Red Dead 2 and I can also acknowledge that it's stupid that it only runs at 30 on PS5. Like that's crazy. Or in terms of like core game design, I can love Red Dead 2, but I can be frustrated that like the inventory management is like abysmal, and sorting stuff out in your satchel is like a migraine inducing nightmare. Just because you love something doesn't mean that you have to pretend like it's perfect, right? But within these comment sections, there are some interesting tidbits. Jez, if, I don't mind it, if and big if the sandbox elements it supports actually get utilized, the trade-offs weren't really apparent in Starfield or Fallout 4, given how little your choices had meaningful impacts. Jackson said, I wonder what kind of additions we can expect from Creation Engine 3. Feels like the most notable stuff Starfield added was volumetric lighting and scale of the world. I think it's going to be a lot of user-generated content, and I think it's going to be a lot of hopefully improved like AI behaviors and NPC behaviors. That would be my hope. But I think what is also interesting is that people brought up some of the posts that have started going around from the revelation that Obsidian is going to be working on a Fallout project. Specifically, this little snippet from Josh Sawyer started going around again, where if you're not clear, this is like original lead of Fallout New Vegas, and he's going to be in charge of the next Fallout project from Obsidian as well. And this is him talking about the Creation Engine.
This engine, I'm not saying this because I will criticize other stuff in Fallout 3 and 4. This engine is incredibly easy to make content for. Look into my eyes. Without Gek and without the pipeline of this engine, we never would have finished this game in 18 months. This is the best content creation pipeline of any game that I've ever worked on. Easily. It's buggy. You're right, it's very buggy. It's buggy and unstable, and it's frustrating. But it's incredibly easy to make content for. Like, no one's gonna sit here and say like, no, dude, it's not that buggy. Like, yeah, it's pretty buggy, but it's fine. Like, that's a trade-off. The Gek is it's a fast tool. Searching is super easy. Finding references to things is super easy. Scripting is very powerful. Iteration loops are super fast. Like when I test something, I'm like, or when I build something, I'm like, oh, I want to test that. Incredibly fast iteration loops. Awesome. The only shortcoming of the tools was the dialogue tool, and we built our own dialogue tool to sit on top of that. And that was fine. Like, it took a little bit of investment for us, but that was it. Like, that was fine.
To be clear, this is an older video, and of course he's talking about New Vegas, which was built in like 20 2009, 2010. So we are talking about a much older version, to be very fair. I mean, he's talking about a version of Creation Engine that existed back in, 16 years ago. So it's certainly much different now than it was back then. Just like if you were looking at Unreal Engine 3 from back then, you'd be like, yeah, Unreal Engine 5 is a different beast. In some ways better, in some ways worse. But it is interesting, and I think it's important to acknowledge this. As I've said, there are things that Bethesda's Creation Engine does. Other engines don't even try to. I would argue they don't try to because no one really gives a shit. I mean, it's like for memeability, it's fun. Like there's this clip, for example. This is something I don't think Unreal Engine could do, being honest. Yeah, it was Gamebryo back then. Yeah, I think they rebranded to Creation Engine. Was it Fallout 4? I forget exactly when they did it. But anyway, this is something, having a crater full of blocks of cheese. You could not do this in Unreal Engine. Does anyone care though? Like, is it technically true? You will not be able to do that in The Witcher 4. Yes, I think it's true that you will not be able to have realistic cheese physics simulation in The Witcher 4. You got me there. But as with all game design, I'll use a term from Todd. Okay. Todd has said this before many times. We've seen interviews where he said it, where Todd has said, we can do anything. We just can't do everything. All of game design, all of design just in general, is about picking your battles and choosing what's important to you, what's not important to you, and then going from there. Yeah, you can see it's all blocks of cheese. That's what this is. It's about picking your battles. Creation Engine has picked a number of battles that it's very good at. It's really good at physics sim. It's really good at detail persistence. So that's something people bring up a lot, is that like you can kill an NPC, they drop to the ground. And because that fishbowl, because that cell is sort of its own isolated, almost like its own isolated save in a way, they can save that scene with those NPCs laid in that positioning, with the loot how it is, with the cheese blocks how they are. It can save that scene in that fishbowl, set it aside for later. And so when you come back, that fishbowl has been preserved, right? Like, even if after all of this, he blows up the cheese and it gets scattered across the lunar surface, he'll be able to come back and rediscover the cheese in that same layout. I'd like to think that he had to end the video there because it crashed. That's what I'm choosing to believe. Like, that is something that's cool. My perspective, though, and this is, I think, the feeling of a lot of the people, and this is where like the gap starts to happen, is that things like this do not actually meaningfully contribute to improving the quality of the types of games that Bethesda seems to be making. Like, cheese sim is cool. Does that make Elder Scrolls 6 better? Like, there will be a viral video that goes around, gets a couple million views, of a guy that's like, I decided to try and collect every wheel of cheese in Elder Scrolls 6 and hide it in my house. And then he just cheats with console commands and spawns 1,000 cheese rolls. And it's like, I did it, subscribe. That video will do 2 million views. That'll be fun. I can't wait for it, okay? Spoiler alert, I'm gonna make the video. But will that make the game better in a tangible way? I'm not so sure. Like, if you had to choose between that, cheese sim, and seamless exploration, which would you choose? That's a separate question. There's been some of these videos that have gone viral, like RDR2, and they were made, like, these videos were made to be funny. Like, people made these to just meme. RDR2, if it was made by Bethesda.
shopkeep across the way's been selling.
And like, they're doing this like it's to meme and be funny, but I think that this demonstrates why seamless exploration in an open world game adds to the experience. Like, you see what Red Dead 2 would be like if you had load screens at the same places that you do in a Bethesda game. And it's like super jarring and weird. Like, some people would get used to it and parts of the game would still be phenomenal. But like, if you took away Red Dead 2's phenomenal writing, and so you just ended up with kind of mediocre writing, mediocre questing, and like a lot of other things that people don't find particularly exceptional, and then you also add in these technical drawbacks, it starts to just kind of kill the momentum. It kills the vibe. Do you want to fast travel? Gumaz did a number on this one. Do you want to enter this town? Dude. And then the frame drops in combat. They put the FPS counter up top. It's so dirty, dude. They did them so dirty. But it's funny because it's true. Okay, it's true. Now, to play devil's advocate, okay? There are people that seem to like this. It's Jabo says, nah, I disagree. I love the separation of outside and interior cells. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if this is a joke. I don't know. Jabo says likes dumb ideas and dumber videos. He might be memeing. I don't know. Like 3,000 people liked it. So is this a joke or not? I don't know. Is he being a Poe? I don't know. Maybe he's being serious. I can't tell. Yeah, Poe's Law. Literally, is it somebody being dead serious or somebody memeing on somebody being serious? I don't know. You can't tell. Can't tell. Swerve said in a very vague way, most don't understand the actual power of the creation engine and what it does for gaming. This feels like an AI response, because what does that even mean? What it does for gaming? What do you mean?
Caleb's92 donated $50 through Super Chat. What you're missing about the Chess's sim is that allows NPC actual LT hold a weapon and drop it when you kill them. It's not just a line in NPC inventory. In combat, you fus ro da it away.
So, it doesn't know how to read Fusro Da, stupid AI. In combat, you Fusro Da it away. You disarm an NPC and they see the weapon and can pick it up. Well, first of all, thank you for the 50. That's very, very generous. That's outrageous. Thank you, Caleb. I will thank your mom as well when she comes in chat. As for I just realized if people don't know the inside joke, they're gonna be like, why is Luke talking to his mom? But as for that, yes, it does allow for things like the guns to be dropped and then physically simulated on the ground. That's true. That's something it can do. That is true. I would argue other games can do that too, where they drop the physical weapon. Most games just don't allow you to pick up the weapon that's dropped from the enemy, because it breaks in-game economies if they let you pick up every single thing and sell it, which is like Red Dead 2 doesn't, for example. It's top of mind because I was playing it last night. But like Red Dead 2, you can loot enemies, but it's not like you can pick up every single enemy's revolver, every single enemy's clothes, strip them down and take their boots and then load it on your horse and sell it at Saint Denis, because it would break the in-game economy. It would just break everything if you allowed people to do that. So they just don't, because it's a game. They got to put a line somewhere. And so Bethesda, on the other hand, does let you go in and loot everything and pick up everything, and it's physically simulated and all that. That is true. It's just a different design philosophy, I think. Yeah, different philosophy. But I think so. There's this one. Again, I'm not really sure what he means by what it does for gaming. So this might also be a troll. I don't know, man. A lot of these I can't tell. Reply Addict, I think this is also a bot account. I think, because it's Reply Addict and just says professional, shitposter, mention merchant, replying so you don't have to. Apparently just like replies to everything. I don't understand. People still don't get it. Bethesda's object permanence is what makes their worlds feel alive and reactive. I mean, most games and worlds feel reactive because of NPC behaviors and system behaviors. Leaving a wheel of cheese on the ground and coming back later for it is cool. That doesn't scream living world for me personally, but okay. You can drop items anywhere, like cheese. Build crazy cheese-wheeled shrines. See, do you see why I feel like this is might be a troll? I can't tell anymore, dude. I can't tell. They're actually like straight up describing as like a feature of the engine is that you can drop items anywhere and build cheese wheel shrines. I'm joking when I say that. This is serious. Leave the world in whatever chaotic state you want, and it stays that way. No other game, Cyberpunk included, has fully captured that level of true persistence without compromises. Well, it brings the question, so if no other game is doing it, why? Is it because the creation engine is just so far advanced of everything else that they didn't do it? Or is it just a matter of, like Todd said, you can do anything, we just can't do everything. And those other teams are choosing to do other things instead. And I think that's what it is. If they wanted full persistence, kind of like Star Citizen level persistent entity streaming and stuff like that, they could do that. But like, does it truly matter for the types of games that you're making? And this is where like a core piece of this discussion I think is important to just acknowledge. And maybe this is a hot take, I don't think the creation engine will honestly feel as bad as it did with Starfield when we get Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think it'll feel that bad. Because I think for most of the time, you're going to be out in the open world, walking around, exploring. And when you enter a castle, there will be a load screen. When you enter into a building, there will be a load screen. That will happen. When you enter into a cave, there will be a load screen. But I think because most of your time is going to be outside exploring and doing all that, it's going to feel much less constant. The reason it was a major problem with Starfield is because Starfield was almost built in a way where they wanted, like, you were forced to interact with load screens constantly. Going from planet surface to orbit, load screen. Going from orbit to a space station, load screen. Back to from your ship into the space station, load screen. Within the space station, you enter another area of it, load screen. You warp back to your ship, load screen. You go from your ship into orbit, load screen. You go from that orbit onto another planet, okay, load screen. Like constantly. It was like the worst possible layout for a game that was trying to, if you wanted to hide load screens. And I think it's just simply because they didn't think it was a big deal. They played it, they didn't think it was that disruptive. But now, what do people instantaneously think of when they think of Starfield? They think load screens, unfortunately. And that sucks, because I think there are pieces of Starfield that are legitimately really cool. I will defend till the day I die that ship customization system in Starfield. Freaking awesome. I love being able to build your own ship, customize it, even with the layout being fully reactive, building different habs and layouts. I freaking love that. And it's awesome. I think it's boring. Well, to be clear, that's another piece of this puzzle, which is separate from all of this, which some people have acknowledged. Razorwire mentioned their biggest weakness is their Dogwater narrative design. I'll happily put up with load screens if the stories and characters are compelling and human. Well, and this is kind of what's interesting about like seeing Josh Sawyer talk about Creation Engine, or well, specifically back when it was Gamebryo. But with this, of course, one of the strengths of New Vegas, nobody's ever said that like the technical aspect of New Vegas was its strong suit. It like the gunplay's ass. The data streaming is like so slow and sluggish that it regularly drops frames when just walking through the Mojave and through the desert. And then it also sometimes just randomly crashes, unless you have a bunch of mods installed to fix that stuff. But then also beyond all of that, it is like a buggy disaster through and through. Nobody's ever said that technically and technologically New Vegas was ever that impressive. But what made it stand out was the writing quality. What made it stand out was the world building and all of the other human stuff that they added to it. When we look at stuff like the Red Dead 2 half joking, half serious comparison video, what makes this really, really interesting to just think about hypothetically is like, honestly, ask yourself, if Red Dead 2 just put in load screens between rooms and between buildings within the open world and cities, which is what Starfield does and what Creation Engine typically requires. If they did that, would it fundamentally make the game bad? Would it just make it a little less amazing? Like, what would that actually do? If every time you wanted to go in the bar, you got to go through a load screen. Personally, I still think the game would be amazing. I think we'd make fun of it for the constant load screens, and it wouldn't feel as premium. It wouldn't feel technologically groundbreaking or cutting edge. It would feel outdated because there's other open world games that don't need to constantly do this. But it would still be a phenomenal game because of the writing, because of the world building, because of the performances in the motion capture and in the dialogue and everything. It would still be phenomenal. But that's the point, is that it has all of these other amazing strengths that would make up, I think, for the weaknesses. The problem and the reason why most people are truly frustrated by Starfield is that it didn't really excel at anything. It's why in my review, I said that it was just the most quintessential meh game like ever, because it was just meh. It just didn't really do anything great. It did the ship building and ship customization was great. I'd give it that. That's the one thing it did really, really well. But beyond that, and some people disagree with me on that one. I don't know how you disagree on that. I think it's awesome. But everything else, it's like pretty mid, you know? So I think that the narrative design is a major component of this, and it's important to acknowledge for sure. Going and looting everybody, of course, classic. You got to do it. You got to do it. You're carrying too much to be able to run. Yep, that's also classic. So is it the end all be all? No. But I think that it's just one more negative, one more con in the stack that gets bigger and bigger. Loading screens exist for a real technical reason here. They let the game actually remember your impact on the world. Again, I think the reason why other studios don't care that much about persistent cheese streaming is because they realize that players react much more positively when like NPCs behave more realistically, when the world is more immersive and more streamlined, so that you can actually just get lost in it without constantly being broken up with load screens and stuff. I think that makes a much bigger impact on the average player's enjoyment of a game than persistent cheese streaming, personally. I'd rather quick loads than losing that immersion any day. The trade-off is worth it. And I respect the opinion, my friend. I respect the opinion. But I would argue that part of the reason why this has been so exaggerated is because of the type of game it is. John Linneman actually responded to this particular post and said, I think the issue is that this doesn't work very well in a game like Starfield due to how the game is structured. So you wind up seeing loading screens more than actually playing. Loading screens were largely a non-issue for older titles, and the world still felt immersive. Exactly. Totally agree. King Zeno, I would gladly remove the ability to collect all the cheese wheels in the galaxy just to for being able to seamlessly walk into a town, then into a store with no loading screens. I think most people are probably in there. That same boat. I think so. But yeah, it's an interesting discussion. And I think that with all this, I think that this is hopefully a piece of discourse that Todd is paying attention to. He recently did an interview where he said that he has been reading Reddit. He actually posted to Reddit r/games just 3 days ago, said, hey, Reddit, I'm a professional lurker and read all your comments all the time. Read your comments all the time. Many here do, and we deeply appreciate the passion for our work. I know I don't really post, and we're usually very quiet. Today's info was an attempt at changing that and letting everyone know what we've been working on the past several years and a look at what's coming. So, no, we're constantly listening and keep telling us how to be even better. You'd be surprised how many great ideas I get from Reddit. Probably that scares me hearing that, but okay. So upvote your favorite and we'll do it. Maybe top upvoted comment. So no, we're constantly listening and keep telling us how to be even better. Thanks, Todd. Please get Virtuos to keep patching Oblivion and give it as much love as you guys gave Skyrim, because it feels abandoned right now, which is a shame. Yeah, it's still apparently broken if you play it for more than 25 minutes, which is crazy. But yeah, apparently it's still broken. Oops. But I think that all of this is interesting. I hope that Todd's actually listening to the feedback and they are working actively on overhauling a lot of this. But as we've seen, there's plenty of people that are willing to just hand wave away a lot of these technical concerns because they say that the overall game is worth it, you know, which I'm not sure if I personally agree with the sentiment. I personally think that I'd much rather get rid of cheese streaming in exchange for seamless exploration, but there's people who clearly prefer the cheese. So there you go. Luke, I'm so excited for the next couple of Star Wars games. I can't believe the games have been carrying the franchise personally. I'm excited for whatever we get from Respawn. I almost said Reddit, and I was like, can you imagine Reddit collectively makes the next Star Wars game? Oh God. That would be rough. Okay, where did I leave off? Oh my god. Let's see, I said thing for that one. I read that one. Let's see, Paulascanio, thank you for the 2. Read my question, bro. You didn't include it. I'm not sure. Hold on. Did you send another one? Hold on. Oh, I see. You got frustrated because I paused right there. I see. Luke, if you had the 7-sided video game. Oh no, I did read that one. Okay. I guess you sent this one after. Okay, I'm tracking. I'm getting there. Nerdy Giant, thank you for the 10. So do you think protests are going to break out at Gamescom or Comic-Con due to PlayStation being silent, not reversing course, or is it going to blow over? Or do you think this is not going to go away? I mean, I don't think anything's going to happen at Gamescom or Comic-Con. I don't even know if PlayStation's going to have a big presence at any of those. I think there's going to be people who still are talking about it, but I think that PlayStation doesn't give a crap. I mean, even if this, like the discourse and the rage still continues for the next year and a half, I don't think they're going to change anything. Like, I don't think PlayStation gives a crap. So I think even if it were like double the scandal that it already is, I still don't think they would do anything about it. I think they fully do not care. They do not care what the core audience thinks. Like they just do not care. Olive and Trees, thank you for being here. Thank you for the 10. Luke, off topic, but I'm really sad if I can't read. If we get KCD 3, we'll never get a full trilogy box set on disc. I don't know why. It just makes me sad. I hadn't even really thought about that, but yeah. Yeah, I guess if it launches in like early 2028, they wouldn't be able to do, because it would be a new game after the cutoff, so they wouldn't be able to do a PlayStation disc for it. Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that, but yeah. Huh. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, I hadn't pondered that. That does kind of make me sad too. Luke, you haven't acknowledged me being a new subscriber, and I don't care at all. I just want to hang out. Okay, cool. I'm glad to have you. Thank you for subscribing. That's sweet. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Jay Chubb. Glad to have another one over here. Chubb. I feel you. Thank you, my friend, for being here. Thank you for the sub. Shh, I'm invisible. With a resub for 6 months over on Twitch, said, I broke my original release Oblivion save by duping a sword 50,000 times by shooting it with an arrow. And that broke the save. Dude, you know what? Of all the ways to break your save, that's a fun one. I'll give you that. See, I broke a save one time. I think it was in Skyrim on the 360 because I went into a cave and then I think it was a Dark Brotherhood questline, and I went in a cave and then it spawned like a glitched boulder that blocked the walkway. So you couldn't walk through the tunnel to like leave. And so you're just stuck. And it was a long time ago. Like core childhood, teenage, whatever memory. But yeah, I have a core memory of just the total despair, realizing that that cave glitch had struck. And I started trying to look it up online and was like, oh my God, this happens all the time for people. All the comments are like, oh, you have to save right before you do this because there's like a chance that it breaks your save because you can't leave. Well, great. Too late. I'm screwed. So anyway, Where did I leave off? Mike, thank you for that one. 10 plus year Roblox dev here. Those games are the equivalent of Spider-Man and Elsa on YouTube. Roblox offers a hugely competent engine, which is the secret to its success, unlike the creation engine. Interesting, Mike. I mean, it's pretty clearly, they gotta be doing something right if they have 47 million players concurrently at any point. That's insane. Like, you got to be doing something right to become the biggest gaming platform, full stop, period, in the world. Like, that is ridiculous. So I know we all meme on Roblox, and it is like there's a lot of the games clearly targeting and geared towards kids and younger audiences. But you also have to acknowledge they are doing something very, very right. And what I've said for a long time is that I think the biggest blunder that modern gaming executives have made is that they abandoned the youth. They gave them up to Roblox and Fortnite and just kind of shrugged and was like, they're already playing Roblox and Fortnite. Why try? And so now that's all those younger gamers have ever been exposed to. And now those same executives are like, well, how do we get them to buy God of War? How do we get them to buy this or that? It's like, I don't know. You just made it a lot harder. Sure did. Is Nintendo chopped liver? Compared to Roblox, yes. Statistically, yes. It's crazy. Nintendo's big. Nintendo does very well for themselves. But Roblox, if you look at the numbers, it's not even close. And it kind of makes sense, right? Like, kids don't have jobs. Kids can't, like, they don't have expendable income. So being able to just hop on mom's phone and play Roblox for free, that's really valuable compared to having to buy like a $500 console and then an $80 copy of Mario Kart, you know? Like, that's crazy in comparison to what like they can get with Roblox, where all of their friends can play on Roblox with them. And it's like a whole social thing. My little sister, she's now an adult, but even in her like high school years, she was playing Roblox with all of her friends just a few years ago. Like, that was what the kids did. The youths, you know? It's wild. Do you think the actual devs at Bethesda know it's poor quality and just don't care? Do you think that they generally are proud of their work? Wyatt, that's interesting. I think there is a huge... I think there has been for a very long time a disregard of serious critical feedback and a hand waving away that critical feedback is just haters. It's my impression based on stories I have heard. If you say that like Starfield is boring or the writing is bad or that the load screens are a major issue, you're seen as a hater, somebody that's just trying to be, you know, you see the memes. It's like someone miserable is trying to make you hate the game even though you love it. And so I think that seeing that Todd also is spending time on Reddit is really funny because hold on. No. I didn't know that this was a subreddit. Yours truly has gotten posted here numerous times. They don't like me. But this is apparently a place where Todd has spent some time. He referenced it, I believe. I think it was in a Kind of Funny Games interview is where he referenced it. But the Starfield, r/Starfield, became too critical. So too many people apparently were saying that the game was boring or that the writing was bad or that it had been abandoned and wasn't being updated and improved consistently enough. So the hardcore fans of Starfield left and moved over to a new subreddit called No Sodium Starfield, which is objectively a funny name. And they have dedicated rules such as constructive criticism is okay, being a dick is not, don't engage in annoying arguments. I don't know I guess. If you think anyone is breaking a rule, report instead of engaging. Mark spoilers, totally fair. Toxicity goes both ways. A lighthearted joke is fine. Typing a passage about Starfield haters and posting is not. Yeah, do not dedicate posts to complain about complaints, which is kind of funny that they had to make that a rule. That I guess it kind of makes sense. Like that there's probably posts on here complaining about people complaining about Starfield. Like, oh, this person made another video saying they don't like Starfield. I'm so pissed about that. So they had to make a rule against it. But they had to actually step in and make rules about this. And listen, I think it's great to have a community where you can all come together. And I even if I don't like Starfield, I can appreciate that there's a lot of people that love it. Like, that's awesome. That's awesome. My point of view has always been that I want Bethesda to get back to their glory days and get back on the horse and with their horse armor and start hitting it out of the park again. I just feel like couching feedback and glazing them and pretending like these things are not problems doesn't actually make them better. Like, I think if you recognize a problem at any studio, you need to be very clear about it. Cyberpunk 2077 launches. No, it's a problem. Like, this is unacceptable. This is broken. You also marketed it and sent out review copies, but didn't allow reviewers to use their own footage. You also hid the PS4 versions of the game because you knew it was going to run terribly, but you still wanted people to buy it. Like, that was totally unacceptable. And then for years, they had to dig themselves out of the trench that they found themselves in. And I think eventually they did. Phantom Liberty was kind of the ultimate comeback with how good it was. But they took the feedback and then actually acted on it. They're like, oh shit, like, we got to figure this out, because they responded very clearly and truthfully with themselves to the critical feedback, to the negative feedback. And I think that's what needs to happen at all of these studios, whether it be Ubisoft with all of their crap of the last 5 years, or it's BGS or any of these other companies. Like, you got to be able to give feedback and then act on it. And I just feel like it's pretty clear that enough people hand wave away the problems within BGS's approaches to things that they're not going to change anything. They just won't. When in doubt, hire Idris Elba. Yeah, dude, he's so good. He's so good. Club, thank you for that. Hey, Luke, this might be holy copium, but to stay on a more positive note, could you react to The Elder Scrolls 6 will be good, and here's why, by Sputnik 34. You mentioned similar arguments. Interesting. I can look that up. The Elder Scrolls 6 will be good. And here is why. Interesting. The top description line. I am injecting hopium into the discourse. Praise be God Howard and In-N-Out Burgers. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. That's awesome. Also, top comment. Patient appears to have overdosed on copium. Now I'm intrigued. Tell me lies. Tell me sweet little lies. Let me catch up on a few more of these, then we can look at it. AC Black Flag turned out to be a huge success. I'm headed to GameStop as we speak to buy it. Do you think this will make Ubisoft make changes for AC's future? Yes. And I will say for a fact, I do know that they are responding and internally actively discussing the even the critical feedback. So the feedback over the motion capture cutscenes and stuff, that is one that they are thinking about seriously, because they have heard that loud and clear that people really do not like the procedural animations, that people like the motion capture, and that is a major point of focus for them, it seems. So I think that moving forward, that's going to become a big focus. They see these memes. Hidden One posted this. Assassin's Creed Origins, if it came out 1 year later, because Odyssey introduced all of these hero poses, and they still persist in all these games. Dear Ubisoft, Black Flag Resynced is a fantastic game, but can we please move away from this? You have the resources, developers, tools, time, literally everything at your disposal. Just move on from this. It's been like this for 9 years straight. It was funny in the first time in Odyssey, but it's in every single game. Have some AAA standards. Imagine the new story content in Resynced was mocapped instead of every cutscene looking like this. How can people be invested in these characters when they recycle the same 4 or 5 gestures on a loop? Just compare this to any main story cutscene in pretty much every AC game before 2018. These characters had personality because their performances were literally acted by real people. It's hard to stay invested when every conversation is this soulless. And I mean, it literally is the exact same animation, copied and pasted over and over. And bro, they all do it. Kenway does it repeatedly in Resynced's new content, but not the original content, because it's like an Odyssey thing. And I like me AC Odyssey. I really do. But the hands on the hips thing kind of made sense for Cassandra or Alexios. For Nawe, like, what are we doing? For Edward Kenway, why is he standing like this? Like, it doesn't match any of his body language from the original performance motion capture at all from Matt Ryan. He didn't do this proudly in those original cutscenes, because why would he? Even the children are doing it. It's infected the children. It's in the water supply. What are we doing? It's affecting the Smurfs. Oh, dude, do you remember the Smurf levels in Valhalla? Those were the days, man. Those were the days. Simpler times, really. Simpler times. Easier to enjoy. I agree, though. I really agree. I think that it's a major problem that they should listen to. But I do think that this is one that they are paying attention to. I have it on good authority that there are active conversations now on what the game plan is moving forward. Because like, if they can come out on stage, and they did this with like Resynced, where like, you remember there was all the concern, where's the blood in the trailers? They came out and proudly made several separate Twitter posts saying there will be blood, showing trailers with blood effects and stuff in it, because people were like, I'm worried that there's going to be no blood effects in Resynced. So they came out, saw the feedback, immediately responded and said, no, we're giving you what you want. And look where they are. They sold 3 million copies already. And I think that that's going to be their approach for the next like 5 years, is what are people saying? What do they not like? Do the opposite. They like that. We're doing it. I think that's the approach. The difficulty is that there's a lot to undo and rebuild to give people what they're looking for. Like AC Hexa has been it's been built for the last like 3-4 years, basically. So, because the team doing that is Montreal. Montreal did Valhalla. So they've been working on that, but they've been working on it with the tools that did this. And so I wouldn't be surprised if in AC Hexa, whatever her name is, the protagonist, is probably standing like this in a bunch of the cutscenes and in a bunch of the dialogue. It's like, what do they do? Do they scrap all of that? Do they try to redo everything with motion capture? Is that even doable? Like, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm sure they're having the conversations. And they're talking about it. And as for what comes after that, like what comes out after that with like sequels and the games after that point, I think that they are looking heavily at getting rid of the dynamic systems and going full motion capture, because people have pretty much voted at this point. They're kind of sick of this. They want dynamic or they want rather motion capture. Or much better dynamic stuff. Like when you only have a few basic poses, so every character ends up feeling the exact same, it takes you out of it. It just kills it. Because again, Edward wouldn't stand like this. He didn't in the base game. That's why instantaneously, if you want to know if a scene is a new edition or an old one, just look if Edward's standing like this. Because Edward doesn't stand like that in any of the original content, but only in the new ones, because it's using the other animations. Yeah, oh, before the Switch. Yeah, the fully motion captured stuff. Dude, AC Origins is so good. I love AC Origins. Oh, not just because it's set in Egypt. That helps. But man. Odyssey ruined the franchise? I don't think Odyssey ruined the franchise. I think it was the amazing, smashing profitability of Valhalla. Odyssey did well, and I really like Odyssey, not as an Assassin's Creed game, but as like a fantasy adventure RPG. It's really good. It's huge, which is most people's primary frustration, is that it's too much. But Valhalla did so well financially for them. It was $1 billion game in the height of COVID, that I think that they looked at that and said, oh, so we just keep doing exactly what Valhalla did with everything. Just like lean into fantasy, lean in fully to like disconnecting it from the lore, and let's also go full procedural on everything, just go for scale and volume over and above everything else. And I think that just kind of compounded into what we eventually got with like a lot of the later games. But anyway, not a lot. I mean, there were like 2 others, but still, you get what I mean. Let me read a few more of these and then we'll get into this. Oh, I scrolled too far. Damn, you guys are being generous. Thank you for that. Rudy, thank you for the 10. AC Black Flag turned out to be a huge success. Oh, I did read that one already. It's Roxy, thank you for the 10. Hey, Luke, hope your day's going well. Have you seen the new Doomsday trailer? If so, what are your thoughts? I have not, actually. I've not seen the new Doomsday trailer. I saw somebody else in chat mentioning it earlier. I'll pull it up in another tab. I will look it up. Oh, yeah, 4 hours ago. That's why I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, I'll look it up, my friend. Thank you. Thank you. I won't do it on stream because they'll copyright the crap out of it, but I will look it up. Thank you. Meta, thank you for the 5. Is there a breakdown of Roblox player demographics? I literally can't wrap my head around total Steam player count and Roblox. Yeah, on that website I was just on. Which one was it? I forget what it's called. Here, it's called RoTrends, rotrends.com. RoTrends. And this breaks all of this down, individual games, the trending games, so you can see Impossible Sigma Glass Bridge is like the top game right now. This is what it looks like. I don't want to sign up. Servers, okay. So this is the top game right now. So, but you can break all this down. You can explore all of it on here. This is apparently what it looks like. Okay. I don't understand. Sorry, it's not a top game, it's a trending game. It's a trending game. Not a top game, it's a trending game. Sorry. The top game is Fuse, +1 speed keyboard escape, candy and chocolate. Okay? Okay. I clicked on, okay. Is this it? Okay. Well, this is it. This has 700,000 players right now. $700,000 players right now. Figure that out. It's a cookie clicker game. So it's just one they set up their like on their phone when they're in class and they just leave it. Okay. I don't want to be on this planet anymore. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, that's Roblox for you. But RoTrends, you can see it. Let's see. Chris, thank you for that one. Sorry to bother again. Have you seen the Stalker Gamma? Do you think that's what mods/mod packs should be? I have not seen Stalker Gamma. It's a modular mod pack for Anomaly. It's hardcore curated survival experience built on top of Stalker. It overhauls the game into a hardcore survival looting and crafting simulator where you mostly scavenge parts to repair gear rather than simply buying full functioning equipment from traders. Interesting. I'll dig into this more. I have it pulled up in a tab. Thank you for the suggestion. I haven't seen that, but I'll look into it. Thank you for that. Let's see. Mickey Gaspard, thank you for the 10. Very generous. Hey, Luke, just finished The Witcher 3 after playing for 3 weeks straight. I respect that. Just couldn't stop. I feel that too. Definitely one of my favorite games, especially after the second half. Can't wait to play the DLC. Dude, it's so weird to hear that and be like, oh yeah, the new one that's coming that isn't out yet. You know, when I hear like DLC, I think Hearts of Stone or Blood and Wine. But to think that we're going to have a third one is crazy. That's crazy. Jonathan, thank you for that. My boss's kids had a birthday party themed around 99 Nights in the Forest Roblox game. Crazy work. I don't get it, but I'm baffled nonetheless. That's the thing though, is that it's kind of like the Sleeping Giant. Like, you can stick your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't exist, but a lot of these executives, that's what they're looking at to replicate. They're looking at that and being like, those players are about to turn 18, let's say, in the next handful of years. Most of them are about to like turn into adults, where they'll go get a job, they'll be able to buy a console or a PC or whatever. How do you get them to go and buy into your game? That's the tricky part. And that's where I just genuinely, I don't know what the answer is, but that's why they're going to try to build out platforms for user-generated content to win them over. Blake, thank you for that one. Whoever wrote the quest line and dialogue with Lucy and Black Flag needs to never write again. That was awful. The old writing is just superior. The best set of villains were in AC3. We need that again. Well, they're bringing back the big man himself, Darby. And he was involved in some of the Black Flag Resynced stuff. He just didn't write everything, and I think you can tell when he worked on stuff. It's pretty clear. Sivert Scene, thank you for the 32 months. Ooh, baby, that's crazy. Everyone hating on BGS for fumbling Fallout hype, but can we talk about how little Warner Brothers has done with Game of Thrones? They had all the hype, but no games. Yeah, dude, they also totally blew it. But that's also what's fascinating is that the guy that was it George Haddad? I think Warner Brothers. David Haddad. This was the guy that was in charge of their gaming division, but he reportedly just kind of sat around and did nothing. Like, the reporting that came out after he announced that he was leaving was that he mainly just kind of sat around and let the studios do what they were already doing and then didn't make decisions. Like, he didn't want to be the bad guy, so he just didn't do much of anything. And funnily enough, that's probably why we got Hogwarts Legacy without it being like a live service mess, was because he just was apparently totally checked out. Like, ultimate executive who just doesn't care. Like, he gets his paycheck, doesn't really do anything. And he just like was an accidental success with some of these projects. But that same thing allowed for Suicide Squad to happen. And so, he ended up leaving and getting booped. But yeah, it's an interesting little thing. Yeah, who knows? Mad Max was pretty good. I think that was even before him, or he took over right around that. I think he took over right around the time, I want to say 2014, so maybe a year before Mad Max. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to look into it. I'm not totally sure. Leo, thank you for that too. Luke, odds that Spider-Man 3 will be cross-gen. I think very, very, very likely. I don't think there's going to be hardly anything PlayStation 6 exclusive for a long time, because I don't think they're going to sell very many of them. Not because they don't want to, but because they just won't manufacture many. I just think that that's what they're going to do. Also, Leo, thank you for that one. Luke, planning out my PC build, I'm looking at a Ryzen 7 9800 X3D in either a 5070 Ti or 9070 XT. What's better? Is this too much or too little? My goal is to play all of next gen at 1440p, 60 FPS. I mean, I think that's probably going to be good to go for most stuff at 1440p 60. Like, the 5070 Ti is a punchy card. I think that's probably good. I think so. And the great thing also, I mean, again, the secondhand market for a lot of PC parts is going to be really healthy for a good long while, because anybody who can't afford brand new is going to be buying secondhand. So you're going to be getting a flood of buyers coming in. So even if you eventually get to the point where you're like, I need a 5080 instead, you'll be able to do that relatively easily, I think. So yeah, I think that should be plenty. I think that should be good. Also lost on what motherboard, SSD, and RAM type, brand type, speed, etc. that I need. I probably look up on Reddit what people are currently doing. As for motherboards, mainly it comes down to like IO stuff and whether you're using Wi-Fi and you want it built in or not. Some motherboards don't do built-in Wi-Fi, but if you're wiring in with Ethernet, it doesn't matter. As for SSDs and stuff, do NVMe SSDs. They're pricey, but they are way better than most other options, so it'll be great. And then as for RAM type, like speed and everything, DDR5 is like the big one that everybody's pushing for. You probably don't realistically need it. It'll future-proof you, but it's also going to be the most expensive. So also look up on Reddit what people are suggesting. People way smarter than me. Yeah. Or just download more RAM. Exactly. Quinn, thank you for that 5 as well. Hi, Luke. Have you seen the game Dear Passengers? It's an amazing co-op game by a new studio from Ukraine. It already has 1.5 million wish lists within a week. Was that the plane one? Yes, this is the plane one. Yes. It seems very interesting. It also is apparently going to launch on mobile as well at launch. Like it's going to launch on like the Android App Store or Play Store and then Apple App Store and stuff. It's going to be like everything, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Looks really fun. Walt the Great, thank you also for the 3 months. What if the reason Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 aren't out yet is because they can't figure out how to make the creation engine work? LOL, possible reason. Given their confidence. This whole time for like 3 years, like we forgot the password to the server. We don't know how to log back in. So, oops. That would be funny. That would be funny. I'll give you that one. The Mitch guy, thank you for the 5. Thank you again, Caleb, for the 50, by the way. That's insane. Thank you guys for that. And then the Mitch guy, thank you for the 5. My take is that Creation Engine lets them create insanely dense and detailed interior pockets of space that other games just can't do. Elden Ring comes close, though. Well, I mean, I think it's also just what they have been built up using, what they've used for decades, and they don't have much interest in changing. Like all of the concerns people have and the frustrations people have with their pipeline and with their tool set, they do not seem worried about. So they're like, why would we change it? Why would we change it? You know? Okay, and then let's see. RPG Veteran, thank you for that one. I'm giving Oblivion Remastered a shot again. PC port is buns. Series X port is more buns. Believe me, I paid full price at launch. Thanks, Todd. Damn it, Todd. Yeah, they have really, it seems like they have abandoned. I think it's been like a year since the last update. They've like totally checked out. K1, thank you for that super chat. Hey, Luke, just want to say I love your videos. Listen to them all the time at work, and it helps me get through the day. Bless Todd and bless you and your family. Don't spend it all in one place. Thank you, my friend. Much love. Glad to have you here. And I hope work is going well today, my friend. Hope it's going well. Hope it's going well. Jum Lee, thank you for 14 months. The fact that Todd and BGS is suddenly talking to the community is 100% Asha stepping in. That studio has never really spoken to their community. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's Asha. I think it's pretty clear. Like they go radio silent for years on end. And then the moment that Asha steps in and it's like, no, we're doing things differently. That's when all of a sudden they get talkative. I think it's pretty clear that Asha's the one that stepped in and was like, we're doing this. Nope, you're going to go talk. You're going to be social. You know, it's like when you go to a party with a friend who's antisocial and then you just shove them into the crowd. It's like, you're going to go make friends. That's what is basically happening. Yunshot, thank you for the super chat. When do you think we'll see something new from Intergalactic? Maybe the Game Awards is probably the most likely spot because I don't think it comes out until next fall/winter. And I think that Lao Fei, God of War Lao Fei is probably early next year. And then I think Intergalactic is fall/winter of next year. That's what I think. Club, thank you for that one. We're almost there, guys. Hey, Luke, this might be Holy Copium. Oh, but I read this one. This is about that video. The Tom, thank you for 25 months. Longtime sub, had to take a break from the streams for a while because of work. When did you get the new puppy? She's been with us for like a week, I think. And it's kind of a blur. But about a week. Yeah, she is a little angel. She is a goober. She is very lovey and very sleepy, but she's doing great. She and Romeo also are getting along so well, which I am so happy about because he was just getting so bored throughout the day. I felt bad for the little guy, but he and her have bonded really well. And they go out there. I'll peek out the window and see him in the backyard and they're just playing, and she'll go and like he has this little banana stuffed like toy, and she'll go and take that and hide it, and then he goes and runs and finds it, and then they swap places. It's really cute. It's really, really cute. It's really cute. Do you have any predictions for GTA 6 trailer 3? I think it's going to drop early August. That's what I think. Early August, and I'm not just saying that because I have a trip in that time. It's probably going to happen when I'm on a plane because that's just how this works. That's just how it works, man. Let's see, Wyatt, thank you for that. Very generous 10. You don't need to look for a hero pose to tell if Black Flag Racing cutscene is new. Just notice the writing goes from badass pirate to making Edward a literal Mickey Mouse character. Dude, the one that was like really obvious. Edward. Let me see if I can find it. Is this it? I think this is it. I think I found it. Spoilers. Real quick, spoilers for the very end of Lucy's quest line. Okay, spoilers. But there's this part where it's just like, I don't think Edward would say that.
You tell anyone. Mama. I got him, Mama. You tell anyone you saw me cry, and I'll bury you next to that fucking barrister.
Not a word.
Hands on the hips. Every time, dude. Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just so weird, you know, like every single time. It's just really, really bizarre. But then you see one that's like done.
Company and one to my last.
Oh my God.
Let us drink and be merry, all out of one glass. Let us drink and be merry, all grief to refrain. For we may or might never all meet here again.
It's just so good, man. It's so good. Oh. Any puppy appearance? Possibly. I am not, I'm not sure. Nikki might have just taken her on a walk, actually. Yeah, it looks like she took her on a walk. So possibly if they get back in time. Her little legs are very short, but she likes to go out and go sniffing around one of the local parks. She's too little to go to the dog park. She doesn't have all of her shots, but she can go like hang out, check out the birds and stuff like that. Okay. Let's do this one. This was a suggestion from one of you guys. Let's see. I can't get over the Mickey Mouse character. That's so funny. Lumbao, thank you also for that 5. Asha is going to be my my created character for my first run of Fallout 5. She's like a fire character, so she does fire damage to everybody. Pure chaos run. I think that'd be funny. I think that could work. That could work. Okay. Where did I leave? Where was that message? Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Club sent a super chat asking, hey, look, this might be Holy Copium, but to stay on a more positive note, could you react to The Elder Scrolls 6 will be good, and here's why, by Sputnik 34. You've mentioned similar arguments. I'm interested. So I looked this up, and it is a video from 2 weeks ago from a YouTuber named Sputnik 34. Top line of the description is, I'm injecting hopium into the discourse. Please be God Howard, or praise be God Howard and In-N-Out Burgers. I'm here for it. Because it does often, a lot of the discourse around Elder Scrolls 6 just turns very negative and bitter. I remember we did a survey right after Starfield. Well, it was right before Starfield we did the first one. We had like 70,000 respondents. And in that post, it was actually like a pretty even split. There were like, 40 maybe percent, if I recall correctly, 40 to 50% of players said they were really excited for Elder Scrolls 6 and they were looking forward to it. When we did the follow-up survey after people had played Starfield, we did the survey again asking the same question. After playing Starfield, are you more or less excited for Elder Scrolls 6? And it was down to like only 6% of respondents said they were more excited for Elder Scrolls 6 after playing Starfield. Like, it actually significantly dropped people's interest. And I think that's kind of informed a lot of the discourse. I understand there's Starfield fans that really like it, but I think it did not instill a lot of confidence in a lot of the fandom, which is very interesting. But this could offer another perspective, perhaps, a reason to be optimistic. Let's see. Convince me, my friend.
Bethesda sure has been put through the ringer recently, haven't they?
Sorry, not sorry.
From the now comically famous announcement of Fallout 76 and Elder Scrolls 6 over 8 years ago, it sort of feels that the momentum and goodwill that Bethesda built through their rise to power in the gaming industry has crumbled into dust. After the absolute shit show that was the blunder of the Fallout 76 release, Bethesda has more or less been on the back foot ever since. Sure, they managed to recover Fallout 76 in kind of the same way that Yoda recovered Luke's X-Wing out of a sludgy bog in Dagobah. It's still grody, sorta broken, and definitely in need of repairs, but at least they did recover it.
Yeah, and it's something you got to give him credit. Like Pete Hines, who has since retired and was apparently the guy that blacklisted Jason Schreier, which is, small world. It's interesting that like there's like one or two characters we talk about a lot in the Bethesda story, and they are involved in every major like scandal or decision and everything. It's very interesting. But Pete really does seem to have been, as the global head of marketing, he was like the guy that really pushed for these games to be salvaged. So like when one of these games launches, like Fallout 76, and is received poorly, he let them and insisted, no, we're going to save it. We're not going to scrap it. We're not going to cancel it. Interestingly, he retired right at the same time that they like shut down Redfall and they shut down Arcane Austin and all that. And it seems like one of the broader theories in the community is that Pete was like the last safeguard against studio closures for like failed games like that, because he really wanted to get them across the finish line and like turn them into what they promised, which is what they did with Fallout 76, at least I think they would say. And I would say nowadays Fallout 76 is much closer to what, if not surpassed, what they originally promised. It just took years and years and years, but I do think they deserve credit for not abandoning it.
Starfield, though, was supposed to be the actual comeback. The game that made us all remember what we've loved about this studio basically since the launch of either Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3, whatever fucking game you found the studio with. And I think we know how that went.
Bethesda found a way to let you down. How did you do that, Todd?
Starfield is not a real game. It's a fake game. It's impossible for me to like something that has no soul.
And then, hey, who's that?
There's everything else.
You can't actually even travel between those planets in space.
Yeah, Starfield sort of broke people. It was not only a massive disappointment for so many dedicated Bethesda fans.
I'm going to be real also. At this point, I still can't get over how terrible their persuasion minigame is in this. Like, this line is +1, that line's +4, +6. Like, it is bafflingly bad. It's crazy how bad it is. It's still, every time I see it, I'm like, what were they thinking?
But it basically was so bad that a lot of careers have either been born out of or are being carried, to various degrees, by an echo chamber of hatred towards this company and Todd Howard by association. My Star Wars analogy earlier...
He's lying, Todd. We love you. We love you. Do you think I would have a candle if I didn't like you? Answer me that, Todd.
Wasn't out of nowhere, as Bethesda, and in turn Todd Howard, sure kind of feels like the video game equivalent of George Lucas after the prequels.
I've heard that a lot.
Someone who
actually
carried a lot of people throughout their young life, and in their apparent turn to the dark side of either being surrounded by yes men or sheer incompetence, has absolutely decimated some semblance of their childhood.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Dude, if you've never seen that documentary, by the way, they have like behind the scenes of the making of the original, of the prequels. And it's like this behind the scenes footage of George Lucas and the round tables with his producers and like assistants and everything. And it's crazy because they go through, and then at this shot right here,
decimated some semblance.
This shot is when George just watched like the first draft of it, and everybody in the room is like, that was horrible. It's fascinating because you see him just go, yeah, I think I may have gone too far in some places. Like they realize we're screwed. This is not working. It's bad. It's like a bad movie. It's fascinating. If you've never seen it, you should look it up. It's crazy.
Of their childhood.
I may have gone too far in a few places.
Now, is Bethesda and intern Todd Howard immune to criticism? Fuck no. They've done plenty of shit that is warranted of at least some of the criticism that they get nowadays. Some of the ways they've handled the paid mods that they release for the games are scummy. Their entire handling of Fallout 4 is laughable. Hell, even their handling of Fallout as a franchise is absolutely up for debate in terms of quality. Their QA testers either need to be paid more or paid less. I'm still not sure.
That's a really good way of saying it. Like, do they need more money or way, way, way less? I don't know. Like, either way, something's wrong.
Their insistence on using their own proprietary engine that sucks is rather frustrating. Todd's unfortunate thumbs up towards DLSS 5, and like I mentioned previously, their handling of 76 is questionable. I could go on, but those are just a few. But the reception to Starfield has almost, and I emphasize almost, okay, single-handedly shattered many people's hope, anticipation, belief, faith, optimism, and all sorts of feelings towards Elder Scrolls 6 ever being anything other than middling at best. In fact, most people have lost faith in Bethesda to make pretty much anything good again and have resorted to indies to find their next Bethesda fix. And I mean,
my argument would be like, I think the prime candidate for the next Bethesda, spiritual successor to Bethesda, I actually think, like, let me just describe it. A company that made a game that is in a fantasy setting with a vast open world crammed with content. Like, if anything, people jokingly say it's going to take me a decade to finish this game, right? It's going to take me years. It's got an insane number of features, of dynamics, of interweaving gameplay systems, many of which are not really thought through and don't really work that well together, but there's a lot there. It's kind of like the ultimate junk food open world game. And then like you kind of pause and you realize, oh, it's Crimson Desert. Like, is like Crimson Desert just the modern like junk food open world game where it's just like an ocean of content that's totally overwhelming, and it has that same feeling of like, I can load in and just pick a direction and run and I will find stuff to do. That for me, I think, is the spiritual successor to Bethesda, in the purest sense of the way. CDPR, I don't think actually I would put CDPR in the same bucket as like Bethesda, because I think they make very different games. But CDPR has always excelled narratively, whereas as Bethesda tends to excel in terms of like the adventure gameplay. And I think that's where Crimson Desert excels, is the adventure exploration. CDPR is really good at the writing. So I'd put like CDPR and Warhorse in the same bucket. Like they're doing narrative heavy stuff. I don't think Bethesda's ever had that big of a strength when it comes to the narrative. Like, nobody played Skyrim for the well-written characters. You know, I think most people, I mean, okay, I shouldn't say nobody, because I'm sure there were some people. Maybe back in the day with like Morrowind, they were playing it for the writing and the world building there. But by the time you hit like Skyrim, and certainly like Fallout 3, Skyrim, Fallout 4, I don't think anybody was praising the writing, you know?
Make a quick aside, because now is a better time as any to explain my history with Bethesda, as I think my perspective with them provides me with at least a unique optimism with Elder Scrolls 6, and why I think that for the most part, it's going to be better than what most people are already giving the studio credit for.
Sure.
Growing up, the only Bethesda game that I ever put more than 10 hours into was Fallout 3. To this day, I'm not sure what it was about Fallout 4, Oblivion, Skyrim, or even New Vegas that just really did not resonate with me, but Bethesda games outside of Fallout 3 just were not my jam. I always wanted to like them, as I obviously attempted most of their backlog, but I always bounced off pretty quick. I would try exploring the world, feel the combat was too janky, explore a random cave, and then say, I'm just gonna go play a roguelike, and then start picking one of 3 roguelikes. And this is the part where I probably lose a lot of you, because Starfield is the game that actually made me click with Bethesda's design philosophy like a pair of rattling teeth in the cold of winter. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let me clarify that I think Starfield is like, at best, an 8 out of 10, but in reality is probably more like a 6.5, maybe a 7.
Sure. Well, this is something that I think, unfortunately, it's kind of been lost in gaming discourse, which is that sometimes mid games can still be hella fun. You know, like sometimes a solid 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, like a C minus, D plus, they can still be fun. Even if they're not like, even if they're objectively not very good, you know, like there are games that have plenty of problems that are still fun and like stupid and outrageous. One of the stupidest games, I'm going to show you the stupidest game I've ever seen. My brother Ben was like, we should try this one night. It sounds fun. And so I downloaded it without looking at it. Straight up. It's called FPS Chess. And it's so stupid. It's like a 2 out of 10. Like, it's really bad. It's chess, but every time you take a piece, it changes into a first-person shooter. It's so dumb. But dude, we had an awesome night playing this. The bishops fly around. Yeah, one of the pieces has a machine gun. I don't remember which one. It's just stupid. Okay, it's really, really stupid. FPS Chess. Yeah. It's really bad. It's a bad game, but it's fun. It's fun. It's really stupid, but it's fun. And I think that can also be true, maybe to a different extent, with other games. Like there's plenty of AA games with a lot of jankiness and clunk that have shortcomings and are not, you know, what I would consider to be masterpieces that are still worth playing and are still fun, even if they've got rough edges, you know? So I agree. Even at 6.5, you know, even if we insert jokes here about, you know, the first Bethesda game you liked was Starfield, outside Fallout 3, I'm sure we can poke fun. And I mean, people are even joking. They're like, no, screw you, cut the video. But like that does happen sometimes where you're like, I don't know why this game clicked with me, but it does. Oh wait, I muted it for FPS Chess. Sorry, the sound design in the FPS Chess trailer was not great. I know that's surprising, but
more like a 6.5, maybe a 7. I also haven't played any of the expansions, and the last time I touched it was long before the recent update. And since then, I've gone back to Oblivion, Skyrim, Fallout 3, New Vegas, and even Fallout 4, and fan mods like Fallout London with a completely new perspective on the Bethesda formula, which after all of these years is something that I just get now. God Howard be praised. So what is it about The Elder Scrolls 6 that has people worried outside of the relative failures within Starfield? Honestly, apart from things like technical stuff like Fallout 4's Anniversary Edition, which, don't get me wrong, is concerning. I'm not saying that isn't concerning. Like, in an almost hilariously unfunny way. But as far as, like, an actual indication of what could go wrong with Elder Scrolls 6, at least as far as, like, gameplay and mechanics are concerned, I mean, there's Todd's insistence of being vague or sometimes just saying shit in interviews that sometimes comes back to bite him in the ass. But he's been doing that for like 20 years at this point. That's not new. I do think that one of the biggest things that seems to be a concern for a lot of people is the fact that there have been many people that have been associated with the studio for a long time that have left in the past few years, mostly in the interim since the release of Starfield. This is unfortunately something that I can't really just come up with a logical argument as to why this is not as bad as it might sound, as the history and rapport with these individuals is something that simply cannot be replaced. That being said, people leaving studios isn't anything new, and while I can't definitively say one way or the other if the people taking over these missing positions will be able to succeed at their job, this is unfortunately a case of Schrodinger's employee.
It is, you're right. Like, it is important to note that a lot of key positions have been vacated. A lot of people that were even in Starfield's development cycle were in senior positions. They're no longer there. And that begs the question, like, why did they leave? Can they be replaced with appropriate talent to make up the difference, or to hopefully do even better than the person they're replacing? And we just don't know. Like, even if you look at amazingly well respected and successful studios and teams, whether it's like, you know, Rockstar or CDPR or Naughty Dog or whoever, those companies all the time have talent churning in and out. They have people come in and then people leave. They have people come in and then people leave. And it happens all of the time in the industry. So it's not a new thing. What's interesting, particularly about BGS, is the reasons why they leave. So like you listen to interviews with Naughty Dog devs. Most of the time they're leaving because of like the crunch culture. It's miserable. They're like, yeah, I developed ulcers and I couldn't sleep for weeks on end. So I left. Fair, you know, totally fair. But then you compare it to like the reasons why people at BGS left. And most of the discourse from them has been centered around, we left because the company changed. The culture changed. The pipeline and process changed. That was what was really interesting about hearing some of the senior people discuss leaving, is that they worked back when they were making like, you know, Morrowind and Oblivion and Fallout 3 and Skyrim. And they're talking about, yeah, we would just go and like the whole team would go get lunch together every other Friday. And we would all go and if we needed to figure out how to do some quest, we'd bring everybody into the conference room and then we would just talk about it. The whole questing and narrative team, even though we all also did narrative stuff, we all came into the same conference room and we just hashed out ideas until we figured it out. Like we would just do that. Now we have to schedule a meeting. We go to the one room in the building that's reservable in that time frame, and then we talk about it for a 20-minute session, and then we leave and hope that we figured it out, and we send a follow-up email, and then we have to schedule that with Jira and the task management software, get a producer on board. Like it just has turned into a nightmare of like bloat for a lot of them. And so they left. And maybe the people that replace them are better at working in that environment. So it means they can work faster and more efficiently. That's possible. But it also could mean that a lot of that soul that made the company what it was is also gone, which we just don't know.
Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, we'll know if their absence will be felt positively or negatively. But for now, we just have to wait and see. Now, people throw out the concern that Bethesda's RPG design is outdated, or that their design in general has been improved upon or outclassed and made irrelevant with games such as The Witcher 3, Kingdom Come Deliverance, and Baldur's Gate 3 in such a way that when Bethesda inevitably makes yet another Bethesda game, it will feel so outdated and so behind the expected curve of modern RPGs that people will just not want to sit through it.
Modern RPGs, yes, I would agree. Compared to RPGs, it will feel way behind the curve, like way behind the curve, which is why I've said the best bet for BGS is to not try to do the RPG thing, but to lean into their open world adventuring stuff and lean that way. Like, don't try to go head to head with The Witcher 4 or with Baldur's Gate 3. Don't try to act like Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be the role-playing choice consequence definitive game. Like, don't try to do that, because that's not what you're not going to win that fight. Like, you just won't. It's why all these other studios are trying to distance themselves from like Larian and from Baldur's Gate, because like you're not going to win that. You just won't, you know, which is okay. It's just picking your battles, you know. Like, if you're a boxer and you're in that like weight range where you could go, you know, light heavyweight, or you could go heavyweight. But then you see that the heavyweight champion is freaking Mike Tyson, and he's casually dropping people with 1-2s that you know you cannot withstand. Maybe it's time to go on a diet. Get down to light heavyweight, where we can do well. We can be the champ in light heavyweight, you know? Don't start a fight you can't win.
Donated $20 through Super Chat. To me, Tainted Grail, The Fall of Avalon was the game that scratched my Elder Scrolls itch.
Dude, it's really good.
If BGS doesn't deliver, then
studios like Awaken Realms will be taking up the mantle. Well, yeah, I think that's true, but that's why I think that the best bet for Bethesda is to lean into what I think they're really good at, but don't try to be what you're not. Like, I don't think Bethesda's been very good at the role-playing, the narrative stuff for a long time. So don't try. Don't pretend, you know? Don't pretend. Like, figure out what you're good at, lean into that. Don't try to act like, you know, you're on the same level as Rockstar with your writing, or you're on the same level as Larian with your choice and consequence, or CDPR with your cinematics and with your presentation, because you're just not. Do what you do well and let that carry the day. You know, I totally agree. And Tainted Grail Fall of Avalon, yes, absolutely. That's a phenomenal game. And if any game deserved the title of like Skyrim-like, or Elder Scrolls-like, it's very much that game. It really does feel like old school Elder Scrolls in a really cool way.
The thing about this argument that I kind of find silly is that, like, the Oblivion remaster came out a year ago, and a fuckload of people played Oblivion for the first time and loved it. That was my first real experience with the game, and it single-handedly turned Oblivion into a game that I admittedly tried for a handful of hours and thought was pretty mid into...
Yeah. Yeah, you good? Okay. Yeah, don't worry. Okay. Yeah, give me just a few. You're good. This though, I totally. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. This though, I think it's interesting that he says this because
Oblivion into a game that I admittedly tried for a handful of hours and thought was pretty mid into a game that I thought was bordering on incredible.
I think this is why though it's interesting that like presentation's important. Like if you try for a long time with the original and then you try the new like remastered version and then it clicks with you, it goes to show you like presentation and everything is crucial too, which is why also the discussions over like engines and tool sets are important too. Now in the case of Oblivion, of course, it's built on the foundation of the original, and then it's got the Unreal Engine wrapper on top, which just helps it look better and like be a little smoother around the edges. And they also fixed a lot of the like control issues and some of those headaches and stuff from the original. But yeah, I do think people liked it, and you know, Oblivion is a really good game. The question is, could the Bethesda of today make Oblivion? I don't know.
But what I believe is that their games scratch an itch that no other studio can manage. Even Oblivion being 20 years old at this point is proof that at least something about their philosophy resonates with people. And I think that's doubly impressive at a point in time where a lot of studios are afraid to do something that feels old because it either won't sell well or because a lot of players tend to gravitate away from older games because they're outdated without really giving them a chance. When people say that gamers have moved on from Bethesda's design philosophy, I think they're mostly taking into account the way that Bethesda interprets RPG systems. I don't think that it's unfair to say that Bethesda, or at least their games from Oblivion onward, have sort of gravitated towards a design philosophy that I like to call a single-player MMO. Just like in a game like World of Warcraft.
Remember I said Crimson Desert? A little bit of Crimson Desert energy. Yeah, single-player MMO. That's a comparison also brought up there. Yeah, it's like, in some ways, it's being proudly... like, you know, wide as an ocean, deep as a puddle. Like sometimes there's not a whole lot of complexity or depth in individual instances, but there's so much that it's just overwhelming and you can get lost in it. But also at the same time, I think it's why I've said some of these games are kind of like junk food games, junk food open world games. Like you're not going to get any substance or sustenance from eating a piece of popcorn, but you keep eating it because it's good. It just scratches a bit of that itch for you. You know, it's just satisfying enough that you just keep eating it. That's kind of what like a lot of BGS games are in their purest form, for me at least, is a big bucket of popcorn. Afterwards, yeah, I haven't been like totally fulfilled and I haven't like had my life changed or anything, but I'm still glad I had it. And there's a place for that in your cabinet, you know? It's not a steak. I would say like Red Dead 2 is a steak. That's a ribeye. Really good. But that doesn't mean that you should never have popcorn. You know, they're just different.
It's all about...
Good to see you, Destin.
...doing one more quest and making your little character's numbers go up. Finding better loot, improving your stats, and just a constant loop of satisfaction, but with the intangible Bethesda magic of wonder. Exploration and the ability to just let the player breathe and explore, but also keeping them glued to the screen with markers to guide them. People say that their new game systems are super weak in terms of actual character building, and their older games, such as Morrowind specifically, are a real RPG, where not only your literal in-game decisions could potentially lead to different outcomes and whatnot, but your build decisions. Morrowind is often seen as a lost art in terms of Bethesda's RPGs because ever since Morrowind, their games have had a pretty noticeable decline in terms of chunkiness. While I would never argue that Morrowind doesn't have more complex layers of RPG systems, making it a significantly harder game to just get into than something even like Oblivion, I do think it's important to know that Morrowind is, at its heart, just another Bethesda game, except with all of the training wheels taken off. I played through a chunk of Morrowind for the first time last year, and it opened my eyes about the way that this studio makes games. The Elder Scrolls games have always been a series where you level up by doing shit. But I mean like specifically doing shit. Do you want to get better at archery? Keep using bows. You want to get better at using a specific armor type? Throw that shit on and just start taking damage. Want to get better at healing spells? Well, motherfucker, keep spamming that mouse button. While Skyrim is the epitome of this idea where literally whatever you end up leaning towards will be the thing that you improve on, Oblivion and Morrowind still use this concept, albeit with some more restrictions, such as Oblivion's requirement of needing the skills that you learn to be ones that are your major skills. Otherwise, you don't gain actual level up experience. The worry that Bethesda games are going to be dwindled down to the RPG mechanical equivalent of cavemen beating shit together with clubs seems rather extreme to me, because even though that the Elder Scrolls games have steadily become a lot more accessible in that regard, I think that a lot of people overlook what Starfield brought to the table in terms of its systems, as in my opinion, it was the strongest showing of Bethesda making a much more strict character building design while still being a Bethesda game.
Well, I think it's also, there was one interview we saw from Todd from, I think it was a year or two ago. I wish I could remember where it was from. But there was one interview we saw of Todd where he was effectively describing, and of course I'm going to paraphrase, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was effectively that he was like, if I want people to play my games, like if we're designing something, but something becomes a barrier to entry, that's probably not a net positive. Like, it's like there are places for games that are difficult and challenging to get into, because once you get over that hurdle, it's like really satisfying. Basically like the comparison of a really hard combat game or something. Like you have to really commit to it to get your feet under you to be able to like do well in it or even to enjoy it. But his point in that particular interview was effectively like, yeah, when we set up our games, we want you to be able to play it. We don't want to scare you away. We don't want you to get frustrated that this didn't work the way you expected it to work. And he effectively described that he just wanted the games to be more approachable, more accessible, for people to be able to play it more easily. And I can understand why, because I'm sure you get much higher player counts and engagement. People play the games for longer. And honestly, when you're building a game for a platform like Game Pass, that's really important. Like when you're trying to build a game for a platform like Game Pass, where your compensation is tied to the number of hours played, you do not want a game that people fall off of after 20 minutes of bashing their head against the wall. Like we've all tried some of those like really hardcore games where the first hour is just a nightmare while you're getting your feet under you. And for a lot of people, they just give up and they move on. They can't afford that when you're building a game for a platform like Game Pass. And so that's also, I think,
William
a component
the
of
Swede,
it too.
1988 donated 300 Swedish kroner through Super Chat.
Thank you.
Love your content. First time commenting. I have very low expectations for Bethesda, but I'd love to be proven wrong. After playing Kingdom Come, Deliverance 2.
Cut off. It's hard to go back, especially with the load times. Well, I think it shows you what the other options are. And here's, I think with a lot of this, we are talking about, I know some people say stuff like Bethesda's design philosophy is outdated or Bethesda's games are outdated. And I think that you have to be a little more specific than just that, or at least you have to dig into it a little deeper. Like, I think technologically, yes, their games are outdated compared to the competition. I don't even know how you argue that. Like, oh, we can simulate 1,000 pieces of cheese in a crater together. Okay, cool. But like, does it compete with any of the other modern AAA stuff on any of these other facets, whether it be like animation quality or presentation, graphics, fidelity, seamless exploration, stuff like that? No. So there's that. Beyond that, like as for game design and questing design, I think, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say it's outdated, but I do think there's aspects of their approach that are very old school. And some people love the old school approach to some of their stuff. But I think also a lot of people have expected them to grow and expand, and they just haven't in a lot of ways. You know, people jokingly said Starfield is going to be just Skyrim in space, and it kind of ended up being exactly that, you know, like just kind of ended up being exactly that. But yeah, anyway, very interesting. Thank you for the super chat, my friend.
Starfield took the general idea of just do stuff to get better at it, and threw a small twist on it that required you to perform a certain objective within that skill tree to earn you the ability to level up. So whatever you wanted to do would still be the skill that you would level up, but requiring such a specific goal in order to level that thing up meant you couldn't just accidentally get better at it. And that means that your build is determined by your character's desire to get better at certain things.
Sort of. I mean, I for one really, I don't like that approach that they had, because I do not like checklist gaming. I just don't. I know it's like a staple of modern open world design, but if a game asks me to go and kill 22 pheasants to go and level up my arrow quiver, like, I roll my eyes. You know, if I see that where it's like, oh, I want to level up my rifle skill, and I have basically, I mean, I've been using this rifle nonstop, but I need 20 hip fire kills in order to actually level it up. I roll my eyes. I just find it annoying. Like, it's another gamifying layer. I understand that he's saying, well, no, it makes it so you are intentionally leveling. Okay, I guess. I still just don't personally really like it. I like how it, like in Skyrim, you're using a dual-handed Great Hammer, you'll level up that skill. You don't have to like, oh, no, you have to do charged attacks exclusively in order to level it up. And then after you get that, you have to do 15 blocks with it in order to do it. It just, again, turns everything into that like Call of Duty daily challenge grind. And I just don't like it.
Which, in my opinion, is a solid foundation of an RPG system. This little tweak to the formula that they already had going with the Elder Scrolls is, at the very least, an example of Bethesda learning from their prior games and trying to lean harder into the aspects of an RPG. And that's not to mention that they finally made a good persuasion speech check mechanic. While
sorry, I was just like 2 minutes ago describing how I hated this system. I'm sorry. Like we said, we haven't watched this yet, so I didn't know that he was going to say he really liked it. That's funny. Okay, why does he like it?
Understandably confusing at first, it is the first time that Bethesda has ever made one that feels like a unique spin on the traditional concept, but still sort of works as you would expect it to. This gives me hope for the future of the studio, because if they can apply these lessons that they've learned while making Starfield...
I don't know. Everybody's free to like it or dislike it and agree or disagree. I personally really hate Starfield's persuasion system. I feel like it's both overly simplified and overly complicated at the same time, you know? Like, it's just bad. Yeah, buddy? Oh, sorry. I guess I clicked my thing. You're good. 1 second, guys. Okay, we're good. Bye. I'll see you in just a minute. You wanted to show me his castle. What did I even do? Okay. Oh, wait, no. There. Okay, there. I hit a group of scenes or of sources, and it hides apparently all my camera stuff. That's great. Anyway. So what I was saying is it's both too complicated and too simple at the same exact time, which kind of drives me crazy. But okay, let's let him finish this. We might not have time to finish this whole thing. I might have to finish it off stream, unfortunately. But let's see.
Field and expand them into the next Elder Scrolls, there is a non-zero chance that their systems could be the most complicated for the series since Oblivion, which is, in my opinion, the sweet spot for that franchise. Now, all of that being said, going back to Bethesda's early catalog as a newer fan of the studio taught me something about their games, which is the strongest reason why I think Elder Scrolls 6 is actually going to be fine, good, probably great in the hands of Todd and Co.
I love how it starts with fine. Sorry. It's just funny how that's the starting point. I think it's probably going to be fine. Good. Probably great. It's just funny how you start there at fine, and then we level up from there. But like, we're not starting. It's gonna be amazing. Like GTA 6, everybody's like, it's gonna be amazing. No, Witcher 4, it's gonna be amazing. With Bethesda, it's like, it's probably gonna be fine. Good. Maybe.
Oh, nobody plays these games for the RPG systems anyway.
I would agree.
That has always made their game.
That's the thing that I'm saying is that if they know what's good for them, they would not try to compete on the RPG scene. Like, don't try to act like Elder Scrolls 6 is an RPG. Todd shouldn't get up there and describe it as a fantasy RPG. He should get up there and be like, it's the world's best adventure game. Like, that's what he should do. Because I think they can compete on that level. If he tries to compete on the RPG side, they will lose. That's just how it is. Like, you're not going to beat Cyberpunk. You're not going to beat The Witcher 4. You're not going to beat Larian at their game. Like, they have clearly surpassed what BGS is capable of when it comes to narrative RPG systems today, in my opinion. I'm sure there's people that think Starfield is narratively better than Baldur's Gate 3. I'm sure there's people out there that think that. I think you're crazy, but just my opinion.
Games sing. Even their worst games is their atmosphere, their sense of wonder, and their vibe. For as much as I think that Fallout 4 is pretty egregiously mid, there is still something about the sense of being in that world that no game can come close to. And when it comes to the Elder Scrolls, Morrowind, Oblivion, and Skyrim are games that are in a league of their own in this regard. Not a single studio has dipped their hand into the pool of Bethesda's open world waters. At best, they've only seen the reflection in it. Now I'm not sitting here.
I mean, I think Fall of Avalon is a great example of one that does a really good job of it. Like I said, a more modern interpretation of, I think, that formula would be something like a Crimson Desert, where it's just like outrageously massive and ridiculous. But it's a really good time. I think, though, again, BGS, we can look back at Morrowind, sure, but we're talking 20 years in the past. I think what you have to do is look at their recent stuff to determine what the trajectory is. You can't just go back to Morrowind and say, see, they did that, so therefore they'll do this. I think instead you have to look at the trajectory of where they have been going for 20 years, which has been consistently leaning away from narrative RPG mechanics, even leaning away from gameplay like ARPG mechanics and stuff, simplifying things down, streamlining systems, making them more approachable, more accessible, so more players can play them more easily with less grind and less resistance, and then also building it out in a way where they can build in paid mods day one and make that streamlined and easier. It's why I think like the big tentpole system and selling point in Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be a like build your own castle mode system. I think they're going to use the shipbuilding mechanic and they're going to merge it with like the Fallout shelter systems. So like you'll be able to drag and drop habs in, and so you'll be able to build out like your castle and then put NPCs assigned to it, just like the settlements in Starfield, and they'll go and they'll craft you arrows and they'll craft you this healing potion and stuff, and you'll build it out, and it's going to be all around building your own castle, and that's going to be a major component of it. And I think part of the reason they're going to do that is because they're going to have a crap ton of paid mods for decorations for you to sprinkle in there, new little basic like habs to build out inside your castle, individual rooms that are pre-built that you can just click into place. I think that's going to be like a major component of it. So yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be totally different, but I think that's going to be the big push. Because that seems to be the direction they've been going. Anybody who I think is really hopeful that they're going to come out swinging with like old school design philosophy, I think is probably going to be disappointed. Just saying. William, thank you for that super chat. If if Warhorse Studios Lord of the Rings game comes out at the same time as Elder Scrolls 6, that would be pretty funny. It should be before. No, I'm thinking of KCD 3. It should be, if it's delayed, they might around the same time, because I'm thinking Elder Scrolls 6 probably 2029 to 2030, and that like Middle Earth game is probably like 2030 to 2031 would be my guess. Fingers crossed. Maybe a little later, you never know. But they could be in the same ballpark potentially. But I would guess Elder Scrolls 6 probably comes out first. Let's see. Flacco Gaming, thank you for that one, for that 10. Luke, seriously, where does Rockstar go after GTA 6? I really want a medieval game set in the time period of Richard I, King Richard I, but an open world game, that would be fire. Well, they said that they were experimenting with medieval stuff. They experimented with medieval games and concepts. So never say never. I think it's more likely they do that than go to do like Red Dead 3. I don't think the odds of Red Dead 3 are very likely. I think it's much more likely they go medieval because we already know they were experimenting with those ideas. So I think that would just make sense personally. And I'd be down for that. I mean, can you imagine? Oh man. Mr. Posey, also thank you for the sub, my friend. Real quick, fam, we ran out of time. It's already almost 3. So I'm going to call it there, but I will finish reacting to this off stream just later this afternoon or evening. So we'll put the whole segment up and stitch it together. I'm sorry to cut it off in the middle of it. Shocker. I had a lot to say. So we'll finish that up. Bully 2. I would love to see them do Bully 2. It's just a matter of whether they are more excited as a team by Bully 2 or something totally, totally different, like a new IP in a medieval setting. I would guess they'd be more excited by a medieval setting with a brand new IP, but we'll see. Read the comments. What are the comments like? Oh, patient appears to have overdosed on copium. 2002 to 2011, Bethesda was a studio with game developers. Today, they are a company with employees. It does kind of feel like that. I mean, I clicked on the video because deep down I want someone to convince me it isn't over, but sorry, I'm not convinced. The points you make inspire hope. The facts, the matter might suggest otherwise. Time will tell. Great dive into this. Give me your red water and skooma supply. It's okay, babe. I don't care. You cheated on me. Just don't do it again, ass argument. Sorry, that's funny. I'll finish it out. We'll finish reacting to it here in a little bit. But yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, my friend. RPG Veteran, my super chat. I thought I read them. Did I not? Did I miss one? Hold on. Oh, you said, I thought I responded to this one. You said, Luke, you need to talk about Tainted Grail, man. The amount of free content they drop is insane. Boycott Bethesda and play that guy's best Scrolls like. Dude, for real, it is good. I thought did somebody else say? Oh, Bender the Offender also mentioned the Tainted Grail. Yeah, if anybody has not played Tainted Grail but likes Skyrim and likes Elder Scrolls, go play Tainted Grail. It's awesome. It's awesome. Need says I missed one from you as well. Did this just, let me just totally refresh. It might have lost some. If you guys are both saying that yours didn't show up. Hold on. I'm not seeing it, my friend. Where? Whoops. Can I do this? I think it was missed a bit earlier. Hold on. Was it like way earlier? I'm sorry, my friend, if it got totally buried. I'm sorry. I'm bad at this. Let's see. Oh, is this one? I think this is it. I think I found it. Keeping in mind the rumors that Xbox was planning to go all digital, do you think their silence in the wake of PlayStation's physical media controversy means they are actively rethinking their approach? I think they're rethinking how they announce it. Because I think the lack of physical media is established. I think it is. I think the wheels were set in motion a long time ago for both of these companies to get rid of physical media. I think they've wanted to do this for like 5 years, and this was in the works a long time ago, before the price hikes, before everything. So I think that Xbox is already on this path, as is PlayStation now, obviously. But I think Xbox is frantically trying to think, how do we avoid that cluster that we just saw? So they may announce that they're going to still support physical media, but with an external drive or something. They may do that. They've already, the leaks have suggested they have a system in place to digitize physical media. So if you bought like an Xbox One game, you could digitally add it to your library, which is kind of cool. But I think that all this is pretty well established already. So that's what I think. That's what I think. I think they're going to reevaluate how they present it for sure. But I don't think they're going to be able to walk it back. I think that's just what it is. But okay. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much for chilling with me. I will finish reacting to this later. Much love. I got to go though. Much love. I will see you soon. Thank you for the amazing support today. Thanks for chilling with me and hanging out. It was a wonderful time. Okay. Much love. I will see you soon. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye. Mwah.